कोशिश कीजिएगा कि 26 जुलाई की रात इन धरनों के अंदर पहुंच जाए। इंशाअल्लाह 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 27 जुलाई इसी तमाम धरनों से मुजफ्फराबाद की तरफ रावलाकोट।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। मरहले में डोंग इलेक्शन जो है वो करवाए जा रहे हैं। हमने जम्मू कश्मीर जॉइंट अवामी एक्शन कमेटी ने इन डोंग इलेक्शन को मुस्तरद किया है और आवाम से भी अपील की है कि आप इन डोंग इलेक्शन को जो है वो मुस्तरद करते हुए आप 27 जुलाई को, चूंकि हमारा लॉन्ग मार्च 27 जुलाई को रावलाकोट से आगे बढ़ेगा और जो लोग इस लॉन्ग मार्च का हिस्सा नहीं बन सकेंगे उनसे भी मेरी ये अपील है कि अपनी माओं, बहनों, बच्चों, बुजुर्गों के साथ आप अपने शहरों में जो है वो उस दिन शुरकाए लॉन्ग मार्च के साथ इज़हार यकजहती करें। बिलखसूस मैं कोटली के अपने शहरियों से, जिला भर की अपनी गयूर आवाम से जो है वो अपील करता हूं कि 5 जून से अब तक जो इस खिते के अंदर खून बहाया गया, कोटली के अंदर एक मासूम 2 साल की बच्ची को शहीद किया गया, हमारी एक बहन को शहीद किया गया, जिस तरह की इतलात हैं कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर अस्पताल में हमारी 3 नर्सों को शहीद किया गया, दर्जन भर हमारे नौजवानों को शहीद किया गया, सैकड़ों नौजवानों को जो है वो गोलियों से छलनी किया गया और इसी तरह इस वक्त जो है वो 1000 के लगभग जो है वो कोटली भर से, मीरपुर डिवीजन भर से जो है वो हमारे नौजवान इस वक्त थानों में बदतरीन तशद्दुद जो है वो बर्दाश्त कर रहे हैं और इसी तरह जो है वो हमारे दर्जनों साथी जो है वो लापता हैं और बंदूक के साए में जो इलेक्शन जो है वो करवाए जा रहे हैं। इन इलेक्शंस को मुस्तरद करते हुए अपने बुनियादी हकूक के साथ साथ, चूंकि अब ये हमारी बका की लड़ाई बन चुकी है, तो अपना कलीदी किरदार अदा करें। बहुत शुक्रिया।
My colleague Gursimran also joins us on this broadcast to give us more information on this. Gursimran, thank you for joining on this. And we're getting to know that the JAEC has now solidified their stance. They're saying that there will be no more talks with the Pakistan authorities and they will be continuing the long march to Muzaffarabad. What next after this for the JAEC? Give us more details on this.
Amrita, the protesters, these people, those who are on the streets of Pakistan, they have made it amply clear that Pakistan is trying to hold the elections under the guns, and that's why they have decided to completely boycott these elections that are going to take place tomorrow. Though the Pakistan Election Commission has decided that they will be holding the elections in 3 phases, different phases in Poonch, in Mirpur and in Muzaffarabad, but the people have decided that they are going to boycott. They are not going to go with these elections. They are not going to legitimize these wrongdoings of the Pakistani federal government, because what has been their demands that those 12 seats that are they call the refugee seats and that give power to the Pakistani federal government to oust any existing government in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, that is not acceptable to them. Now coming to the ongoing protest, we have seen Pakistani federal government and the POJK government, they have tried to linger on, they try to buy time, and by buying time they try to ensure that they hold the elections and they try to legitimize that move. But the people of POJK a day prior to the elections have given the call that they are going to hit the streets of Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and the long march that was long pending from 9th of June 2026, more than 50 days it's been, so that is going to resume tomorrow, where the people from Rawalakot sit-in that has been going on for roughly 40 days, that is going to advance towards the Muzaffarabad. Though the internet clampdown is continuing, and despite internet clampdown, the atrocities being committed, the crackdown on the Awami Action Committee and the people of POJK, Pakistan is attempting to hold the elections that are going to take place tomorrow in the 13 assembly constituencies of the Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. But the people of POJK, they have given a call that they are urging everyone to come on the streets and completely boycott these elections, so that it sends a message to one and all that the people of POJK are not happy with what Pakistan is doing, what the people of the government of POJK is doing to the people of Pakistan. Now they have given the final call, and they said that from now on there are going to be no negotiations. It's a dead end that they have hit, and there are going to be no talks with the federal government of Pakistan, that is always trying to buy time and using this time so as to legitimize its illegal actions that they are doing in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The people of Joint Awami Action Committee, which is one of the torch bearers for this cause of the people of POJK, they have written not only to the United Nations General Assembly but also to the United Nations Human Rights Council as well. They have also written to the Organization of Islamic Countries highlighting their plights and have also requested them their immediate intervention so that they can tell Pakistan to go in line with the human rights. They stop the human right violation, actually remove this communication gap, communication blockade that they have imposed. So these are their key demands, and also one more demand continues to be that those 12 seats be given to the people of Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir that originally belongs to them but have been taken by the Pakistani federal government so that they can dislodge any government, any elected government in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
That's right. Thank you so much for all of those inputs, Gursimran, and we'll continue to track this and see how it develops until tomorrow. And now, viewers, a major breakthrough coming in Karnataka. Former Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has announced his retirement, and in fact, he says that he won't be contesting the next state assembly elections. And the Karnataka Chief Minister and the Congress veteran leader Siddaramaiah, he announced this in a post on X, and he said that I will not contest the 2028 assembly elections. I am now 79 years old, and our government's term still has 1.5 years left. By then, I will be 81 to 82 years old. And he also cites that his health is not robust as it used to be, and no longer possible to work with the same enthusiasm as before. And Siddaramaiah, a stalwart veteran of the Congress party and also of the Karnataka politics, has announced his retirement, saying that he will no longer be contesting the assembly elections. I'm now joined by my colleague Abhishek from Bengaluru, giving us more details on this. Abhishek, this is a big announcement and also a major shift in Karnataka politics. The former chief minister, who has just said that he has cited his health reasons for saying that he will not be contesting the election. That in fact is also seeming to pass the baton, passing the torch to the newer generations as well. Give us more on this.
Well, the former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, in an open stage, has announced that he will be retiring from the electoral politics in the year 2028. And he also mentions the fact that it is due to him being aged at this point of time. He also mentions the fact that he's already 79. He continues to be an MLA. By 2028, he will be 82. His age would have increased and he might not be able to serve the people like how he is serving. On the other hand, he also mentions the fact that the politics has now become contaminated. Previously, when he started his political career, it was people who indeed gave him money to fight the elections, but the situation has turned upside down. Now the politicians will have to pay the voters for getting the votes. He's mentioned in a detailed note which is put on his social media. While addressing the people on a stage, he very clearly mentions the fact that he will not be contesting for 2028 elections because he is unable to and he will be aging. But the larger question is, Siddaramaiah, is he unhappy because he was dethroned from the chair of Chief Minister by the High Command of Congress, or is he indirectly threatening the High Command of Congress, stating that he is unhappy with him not being the Chief Minister and he is demanding a better position in the High Command of the Congress? Or is he hinting to the supporters or the voters of Siddaramaiah communities or castes that the Congress party will have to face the upcoming elections without the support of Siddaramaiah or the community which Siddaramaiah represents? There are various other verticals and point of views in which Siddaramaiah might have told this, but we are awaiting the response from the High Command of the Congress as well as the KPCC President B.K. Hariprasad, CM D.K. Shivkumar, because every single person who works with the Congress party and in the opposition party BJP and JDS very clearly know that the fact, despite Siddaramaiah not being in any position or leadership position, he knows how to get the work done, and he will make sure that despite being in the power, he will continue to be in politics, indirectly supporting his voters.
That's right. Thank you so much for all of those inputs, Abhishek, and we'll see how it unfolds for Karnataka politics as well. And this is a major announcement. And thank you so much for joining us on this. In fact, viewers, on the occasion of the 27th Kargil Diwas, Indian Army veterans across various locations paid heartfelt tributes to the martyrs of the Kargil War while recalling their personal experiences from the battlefield. The commemoration highlighted the supreme sacrifices made by soldiers in 1999 to reclaim Indian territory in the high-altitude sectors of Kargil, Dras and the surrounding areas. Take a look at this report for more.
कि जो सेना का जो शौर्य है, पराक्रम है, बहादुरी है, वो आज भी बरकरार है। जो जब मैं कश्मीर से द्रास में पहुंचा था और जब 4-5 दिन लड़ते लड़ते हो गए थे और जब मैंने देखा कि Mi-17 हेलीकॉप्टर्स को भी उन्होंने स्टिंगर मिसाइल से गिराया है और मेरे लिए एक एक दिन और मुश्किल होता जा रहा था और मेरी कैजुअल्टीज़ होती जा रही थी, तब मुझे लगा कि ये मुजाहिदीन नहीं है, ये नॉर्दर्न लाइट इन्फेंट्री और रेगुलर्स के मिलकर उनकी सेना है।
आर बटालियन में था, द्रास में था, गया था सर। हमारे को एक JC-25 वार को एक अफसर टैक्स मिला था कि आप भी वहाँ लड़ाई शुरू है। 29/6/99 में दिन को 12 बजे हमारी फाइट हुई मिलिटेंटों के साथ। हमारे 3 थोड़े जख्मी हुए बंदे, बाकी उनके 2-3 बंदे मार कराए। वहाँ से मिलिटेंट भी भाग रहे थे, जो घुसपैठिए थे ना, वो सिविल ड्रेस में कुर्ते डाल के, गन नीचे डाल के वो एक नहर पकड़ के भाग रहे थे। तो उनको हमने भगाया उधर से और मार दिए। बाद में पूरी एयरफोर्स वगैरह लग के उनको मार दिया उधर ही। 10-12 आदमी मारे थे।
My name is S.C. Bhandari, but everyone will call me as a Kargil Captain S.C. Bhandari because we are doing this awareness program and motivation program since 1999. And we bring every year one memento, just like one type of Kargil class war memento as they decide there. And already 26 different type, different names, class, war memorials, mementos, everything inside. And we bought another one, which started from Kanyakumari to Kargil. Every year it will come, sir. Sir, we remember because we lost dear ones, and we can't fulfill for that. And our message to that families, that Viraganas, that entire nation is with you, and want to keep that message. We started our message from Kanyakumari to here, sir.
See, I'll tell you, my memories are still afresh what it was there 27 years back. And obviously, I was commissioned in the subsequent year of the Kargil War. And what motivated to join me forces was this Kargil War. I used to follow it up very closely. I had collected those special editions of magazines, which was there. And when I actually cleared my SSB interview, I went for an appeal of my medical board. So I was given a temporary rejection. So Sanjay Saab, now we call him Honorary Captain Sanjay from 13 Jagrev, he was admitted there and he was riding bicycle and one hand was fully ridden with bullets. So I got so motivated, I spoke to him like what happened. So he was in that operation where Vikram Batra was there. So that motivated me more. And so those memories are still alive.
हमने भी 25 साल फौज में नौकरी करके कारगिल युद्ध में भी थे और हमारे साथ में हम जो लोग थे जैसे कि अफसर थे, जवान थे, हमने उनको खोया है। तो हम लोग क्या है हर साल यहाँ पे आते हैं श्रद्धांजलि करने, जो हमारे साथ में थे तो उनको श्रद्धांजलि देते हैं। क्योंकि हमारी एक कलश होता है कारगिल विजय कलश, जो पिछले 27 ईयर्स से जो बन रहा है, हर साल हम आते हैं यहाँ पे हैंड ओवर करते हैं। जो हमारी मकसद ये है कि दुनिया में जनता को, यूथ को एक मैसेज देना चाहते हैं कि कारगिल युद्ध में जो शहीद हुए उनके साथ हम हैं हमेशा हम लोग उनके साथ है, और जो देश के लिए जो बलिदान किया है उनको हम भूलना नहीं चाहिए, उनको हमेशा हम साथ में रहना चाहिए। और यूथ को हम ये बताते हैं कि जो उन्होंने लड़ाई में शहीद हुए अपना देश के लिए, तो उनको भूलना नहीं चाहिए, उनको हमेशा। तो वो मैसेज देने के लिए हम लोग कन्याकुमारी से लेके यहाँ तक हमारा पूरा मतलब पूरे देश में हमारा अवेयरनेस चलता है।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा और मसाला।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट, स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है। स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
Coming up next, India salutes bravehearts who sacrificed life for the nation on 27 Kargil Vijay Diwas. Coming up next.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ।
क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था? And I don't want to thank you, but express my feelings as well.
अन्ना पार्ट 2 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा। हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ। कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहाँ? ये अन्ना पार्ट 2 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहेंगे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा। हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ। कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहाँ? सारे लद्दाख
A very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Republic. I'm Chongtham Amrita, and today Republic joins the nation in saluting and remembering the bravehearts who paid the ultimate sacrifice in their line of work in Kargil. Today marks the 27 years of India's victory in Kargil, a high-altitude combat program that really made the mark for India in the armed forces. We are tracking all of this in Dras as well today with all of our Republic correspondents on the ground and speaking to all of the next of kin and the people. But before that, we will take a look at the headlines. India salutes bravehearts who sacrificed life for the nation on 27th Kargil Vijay Diwas.
साथियों, हमारा इंटेंशन साफ है कि अब पाकिस्तान से कोई बात नहीं होगी, और अगर बात होगी तो सिर्फ पीओके पर ही बात होगी, जो कि भारत का हिस्सा है, जिस पर पाकिस्तान ने अवैध तरीके से कब्जा किया था।
India makes it clear, no dialogue with Pakistan. There will be only talks on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
अगर पाकिस्तान अपने घटिया मंसूबे लेकर हमारी समृद्धि, हमारी प्रॉस्पेरिटी के रास्ते में रोड़ा लेकर आता है, तो उसे करारा जवाब देने के लिए हमारी बहादुर सेनाएं बराबर तैयार बैठी हैं।
Rajnath Singh warns Pakistan, says if Pakistan attempts to obstruct our path with its nefarious designs, our armed forces are ready to deliver befitting response.
पाकिस्तान ने इस समय आतंकवाद को अपनी सरकारी नीति का एक हिस्सा बना लिया है। इसलिए हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के समय ही यह साफ कर दिया है कि भारत अब आतंकियों और उनका पोषण करने वाली सरकारों को अलग अलग करके नहीं देखेगा।
Rajnath Singh says India does not differentiate between terrorists and government that backs terror.
भारतीय सेना का जो योद्धा है, वो विश्व में किसी भी सेना के सैनिकों से इतना बढ़ चढ़कर है कि उसका मुकाबला भी नहीं किया जा सकता।
Chief of Army Staff General Dras says Indian forces are superior to the soldiers of any other army in the world. Viewers, today on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Diwas, India is remembering the martyrs, the bravehearts. We are proudly recalling the supreme sacrifice of the soldiers who laid down their lives for the sovereignty of our nation. Republic brings you exclusive ground coverage from Kargil, timeless testament to the bravery of Indian armed forces. Take a look.
अपने अंदर एक किस्म का नई ऊर्जा, एक नया गर्व महसूस कर रहा हूं और इस मौके पर मैं हमारे बहादुर वीर शहीदों को विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं और साथ ही उनके परिवारों को भी अपना स्नेहपूर्वक नमन करता हूं। इस मौके पर हमारे साथ यहां देश के माननीय रक्षा मंत्री और उनकी हमारे बीच ये मौजूदगी एक भारतीय सेना के लिए आने वाले समय के लिए एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण प्रेरणा का स्रोत बनी रहेगी। आज यहाँ मैं आपके सामने इन वीरों को जब याद करता हूँ तो मुझे मेरे ही यूनिट के सैनिक द्वारा लिखी गई एक रचना याद आती है जिसका मैं आपके सामने बयान करना चाहता हूँ। मरना सभी को है तुम भले मरे, मरना सभी को है तुम भले मरे, करके नमक हलाल लड़ते हुए गिरे, भूलोगे आप नहीं जो छिप गई शक्ल, सफ़ेद ज़मीं पर नाम हुआ तुम्हारा अटल। तो ये रचना इन सब वीरों के लिए इतनी सही है कि मैं सिर्फ इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ कि भारतीय सेना का जो योद्धा है वो विश्व में किसी भी सेना के सैनिकों से इतना बढ़ चढ़कर है कि उसका मुकाबला भी नहीं किया जा सकता। और इस मौके पर मैं देश को अपनी तरफ से यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूँ कि भारतीय थल सेना पूरे तरीके से देश की प्रगति में उनके साथ उनके साथ पूरी तरीके से देश के साथ हैं और आने वाले समय में देश के परचम को और भी ऊंचा लहराएंगे। जय हिंद और जय भारत।
I'm now joined by my colleague Ishan, who is reporting us from Dras in Kargil. And Ishan, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure that you have interacted with many of the next of kin and the armed forces on this day. And give us more on how the situation is right now. And we have also heard how the Chief of Army Staff has given a very formidable stance for the Indian armed forces as they are superior to the other armed forces in the world. And this, in fact, a major encouragement and a morale booster for the armed forces as well. Ishan.
Absolutely. The Kargil Vijay Diwas celebrations have culminated. They began yesterday. We saw a multitude of the next of kin come across. We saw the heights where the battles were fought. We saw the locations where the entire war has taken place. Now this, in the Dras sector and Kargil, there was around 36 kilometers of mountain peaks that was captured by the Pakistani forces, which were bravely fought by our soldiers, and our soldiers managed to capture each and every peak back, ensuring that the critical NH1, that is the Srinagar-Leh highway, is opened for transport, and the main link between Leh and Srinagar is not cut off. Apart from that, we also saw a display of the modern weapons that are being inducted into the armed forces. We saw the Raksha Mantri clearly state that the only talk with Pakistan that will happen is on POK and no other talks, and he also stated that there will be no distinction between a terror sponsor state and the government of that country. So Standing here about 7 kilometers from the line of control, we can see that the soldiers that are here are always determined and always vigilant, showcasing the modern technology that is being implemented to protect our borders, and of course remembering the heroes that came before them. I spoke to quite a few of next of kin of the Kargil war heroes, and each of them, even though saddened by the demise, felt immense pride in the sacrifice laid down by their kin. Now, we spoke with a lot of family members who hadn't even met their fathers, who sacrificed their lives at a very young age and have only heard about them through stories via neighbors and other officers and their families. So all of this brought emotions to the surface, remembering the sacrifices those 542 soldiers made, the thousands that were injured, and ensuring that, just to ensure our safety so that we can sleep peacefully at night. There were multitude of operations that were being led. Operation Vijay was being led by the army, Operation Safed Sagar by the Air Force, Operation Meghdut by the Air Force, and the Navy ensuring a complete blockade of Karachi. So all the three forces had intervened at that time, and this was the first time two nuclear armed nations were having a military standoff. So this was a very critical moment in history, and that defined India's military trajectory for the coming 27 years. Today we see all kinds of modern surveillance equipment that are being deployed here, from satellite surveillance to ISR to drones to these high altitude loitering pseudo satellites. All of these are being deployed to ensure that there is no movement on the border and the line of control stays where it is. Coming back to the words of Raksha Mantri, he clearly stated that the only conversation with Pakistan is the illegal occupation of Kashmir that it has done, and the current sentiments of the people from this occupied Kashmir is also very against the Pakistani establishment, because the Pakistani establishment has done nothing for them. Now, in the Indian side, we see that there is a lot of development. Roads have developed, tourism has developed, and we can see that there is a constant flow of tourists that are coming here to pay their tributes to our fallen soldiers and to see for themselves the impossible heights that they scaled to ensure the safety of our entire nation. Back to you.
Right, thank you so much for all of those detailed inputs as well, Ishan, and we'll continue to get back to you with more updates as Republic, in fact, joins the nation in commemorating and celebrating Kargil Diwas. And now, viewers, we are cutting across to the Prime Minister's interaction on the Viksit Vibrant Village program, and he is interacting with several youths as well. And this is with regards to the Viksit Vibrant Village program, where the Prime Minister has, in fact, the program was organized in 2 phases earlier.
एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल ऑब्जर्वेटरी का भ्रमण, हिमाचल की सांस्कृतिक विरासत से परिचय तथा उत्तराखंड में आईटीबीपी जवानों के साथ ट्रैकिंग ने युवाओं को अविस्मरणीय अनुभव प्रदान किए। कार्यक्रम का समापन सांस्कृतिक प्रस्तुतियों और प्रमाण पत्र वितरण के साथ हुआ।
नमस्कार, माय भारत की वजह से मुझे विकसित वाइब्रेंट विलेज प्रोग्राम का हिस्सा बनने का मौका मिला।
Here we saw the school is generating electricity through the solar panel. We are taking a step towards Viksit Bharat through these small steps.
And we are really thankful to the ministry who gave us this opportunity. जय हिंद।
विकसित वाइब्रेंट विलेज कार्यक्रम केवल एक अभियान नहीं, बल्कि युवाओं को राष्ट्र निर्माण और सीमावर्ती गांवों के समग्र विकास से जोड़ने वाला एक सशक्त मंच है, जो विकसित भारत 2047 के संकल्प को नई ऊर्जा प्रदान कर रहा है। राष्ट्र की तरक्की, युवा शक्ति।
जिस क्षण का हम सभी को इंतजार था, वो अब आ गया है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, हमारे देश के वो चुनिंदा युवा साथी जिन्होंने सीमा के उन पहले गांव में जाकर इस कार्यक्रम का प्रत्यक्ष रूप से अनुभव प्राप्त किया है, वे आज आपके साथ अपने अनुभव साझा करेंगे। सर्वप्रथम मेरा अनुरोध है, दादरा एवं नगर हवेली और दमन एवं दीव से हमारे साथ जुड़ी हमारी माय भारत वॉलंटियर निकिता सोलंकी जी से कि वे अपना अनुभव माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के साथ साझा करें।
नमस्कार झूले माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी। मैं सोलंकी निकिता प्रवीण, केंद्र शासित प्रदेश दादरा एवं नगर हवेली दमन और दीव से माई भारत की स्वयं सेविका हूँ सर।
केम छो?
जी सर।
केम छो?
सर बहुत मजाમાં, તમે કેમ છો?
આપણે એવા ને એવા।
सर मैं आपके समक्ष विकसित वाइब्रेंट विलेज प्रोग्राम में जो अनुभव साझा किए वो आपके समक्ष और मेरे साथियों के समक्ष रखना चाहूंगी कि सर सच कहूं तो मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि चारों ओर समंदर से घिरे दीव से मैं एक दिन भारत के दूसरे कोने में बसे हिमाचल प्रदेश पर्वतों के बीच में किन्नौर डिस्ट्रिक्ट के सीमावर्ती गांव चांगो विलेज में जाऊं।
निकिता आप करती क्या है?
सर मैं एलएलबी की स्टूडेंट हूँ, लॉ की पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ।
और इसमें जाने का अवसर कैसे मिला आपको?
सर मैंने माई भारत में अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाया और उसके बाद से मुझे मालूम हुआ कि एक आपने जो बताया था उस प्रकार से विकसित वाइब्रेंट विलेज प्रोग्राम करके है जहाँ पे हम युवाओं को वहां पे जुड़ने का और कुछ सीखने का मौका दिया जा रहा है, वो भी क्विज के खातिर। तो मैंने अपने माई भारत प्लेटफॉर्म खोला, उस पे क्विज दी और फिर मेरा सिलेक्शन हुआ।
अच्छा, आपका किस गांव में जाना हुआ और क्या क्या व्यवस्था? उसके पहले कोई ब्रीफिंग हुआ, नहीं हुआ, क्या क्या हुआ?
सर मैं यहाँ से रिकांगपियो गई थी सर। रिकांगपियो में हमारा वहाँ पे सब 3 दिन तक मेडिकल चेकअप हुआ, हमें ब्रीफिंग किया कि हमें कैसे जाना है, कहाँ जाना है। फिर सर वहां से हमारी यात्रा शुरू हुई धार चांगो निचला की ओर सर। और वहां पे जाके सर सच बताऊं तो मैंने सोचा नहीं था कि मैं एक छोटे से द्वीप से वहां सीमावर्ती गांव तक पहुंचूंगी सर। लेकिन मुझे ये अवसर प्रदान हुआ है माई भारत के माध्यम से विकसित वाइब्रेंट विलेज प्रोग्राम के तहत। सर मैं बताना चाहूंगी और मेरे साथियों को भी ये बताना चाहूंगी कि एक लड़की होने के नाते सर परिवार से इतने दूर पहाड़ों के बीच इलाकों में मुझे जाने का अवसर मिला सर। ये तो बहुत ही नया सफर था और मेरे लिए चुनौतियों भरा भी। लेकिन सर जब मैं वहां गांव में पहुंची ना सर, तो गांव वालों ने जिस प्रकार से मुझे हग करके स्वागत किया है गले लगा के, मैं एक तरीके से तो भूल ही गई थी कि मैं दीव से आई हूँ वहां पे। और सर मैं वहां पे मेहमान नहीं थी, मैं वहां पे उनके परिवार का एक हिस्सा बन चुकी थी। उन्होंने तो सर मुझे अपनी बेटी मान लिया था। उसके बाद सर मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि मुझे गर्व है हमारे देश की बेटियों पे सर, जो ऐसे कार्यक्रमों में निडर होकर भाग ले रही है और यहाँ वहां पे दूर दराज बसे हिमालय के बीच इलाकों तक पहुंच रही है और वहां से नए अनुभवों के साथ वापस लौट रही है। तो मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि ये बदलाव सड़कों का नहीं लेकिन समाज की सोच का भी हुआ है। और सर बेटियों के लिए अवसर बन रहे हैं और अवसरों पे भरोसा भी किया जा रहा है। और यही हमारे देश की निडर बेटियां सर हमारे नए आने वाले भारत की खूबसूरत पहचान है।
निकिता जी, आपको संभवतः पता होगा कि हर दिवाली में अपने फौजी भाइयों से मिलने मैं बॉर्डर पर जाता हूं। ये संयोग है कि साल 2016 में मैं दिवाली पर बॉर्डर किनारे बसे चांगो क्षेत्र में ही गया था।
ओ सर
निकिता, आप चांगो के जिन गांवों में गई, क्या वहां महिला प्रधानों या जन प्रतिनिधियों से मिलने का अवसर मिला?
हाँ सर मिला ना हमें सर। मैं जो चांगो धार का भ्रमण कर रही थी गांव का, तो वहाँ की प्रधान, वहाँ पंचायत के प्रतिनिधि, महिलाओं, किसानों, बुजुर्गों और बच्चों से सर मैं मिली, उनसे बातचीत की। और जब मैंने महिला प्रधान से सर बातचीत की तो पता चला सर मुझे कि वो घर भी संभाल लेती है, खेती भी संभाल लेती है, वहाँ पे जॉब भी कर लेती है। और उससे सर मुझे एक हिंदी फिल्म का डायलॉग याद आ गया, वो स्त्री है कुछ भी कर सकती है।
उनसे जो बातें हुई आपको, क्या कोई कठिनाइयां भी बताती थी क्या, या उनके जीवन की कुछ विशेषताएं हैं जो हमारी तरफ नहीं होती है? ऐसा कुछ आपके ध्यान में आया क्या?
हाँ सर, मैं जब यहाँ रिकांगपियो से चांगो के लिए सर गई तो मैंने तो अपनी तैयारी कर रखी थी कि वहां पे मैंने देखा था सर रील्स में कि वहां पे नेटवर्क्स नहीं होते, वहां पे लाइट नहीं आती सर। और जब मैं वहां पे निकली सर और मैंने जो रास्ते देखे सर, पर्वत, इतने ऊंचे ऊंचे पर्वतों और ढलान वाली जगह पे इतने पक्के रास्ते, तब मैं सोच रही थी। फिर मैंने वहां के लोगों से जाके बात की, उनसे पूछा कि ये कैसे है, तो वो बोल रहे थे कि पहले ये सब नहीं था, पहले हमें बहुत तकलीफें होती थी, लेकिन ये सिर्फ संभव हो पाया है हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना के तहत ये सड़कें बनी है। और साथ ही उन्होंने ये भी बताया मुझे, ये भी बताया कि पहले हमारे घर पे ना पीने का पानी नहीं आता था, लेकिन अब हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी की वजह से आज जल जीवन मिशन के तहत हमारे घर पे पीने का पानी मिल रहा है। साथ ही सर उन्होंने मुझे ये भी बताया कि आप लोग तो ये सोच के आए थे ना कि यहाँ पे लाइट नहीं होगी, पावर बैंक लेके आए होंगे, तो मैंने बोला कि हाँ, तो उन्होंने बताया कि नहीं, यहाँ पे 24 घंटे बिजली रहती है और नेटवर्क कनेक्टिविटी रहती है। और यहाँ पे प्रधानमंत्री जी के वजह से आयुष्मान भारत के तहत हम सभी लोगों का स्वास्थ्य पे भरोसा भी बढ़ा है और हमारा जीवन आसान हुआ है। सर एक बात बोलूं मैं आपसे?
हाँ बताइए।
सर मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि पहली बार मैंने विकास कहाँ पे देखा पता है आपको? मैंने विकास देखा वहाँ की महिलाएं, बुजुर्गों और हंसते खेलते बच्चों के हंसते मुस्कुराते चेहरों में सर, और मैं खुद शॉक हो गई सर।
अच्छा, वो लोग आपको क्या सवाल पूछते थे जब आप उनसे बात करते थे?
मैं वहाँ पे गई,
छोटी आयु के बच्चे होंगे, आपकी बराबरी के होंगे, कुछ महिलाएं, माताएं, बहनें होंगी, वो आपसे क्या जानना चाहती थी?
सर वो पूछ रहे थे कि आप लोग यहाँ तक कैसे आए, आप कहाँ पे रहते हो, यहाँ पे तक कैसे पहुंचे आप, आपको कैसे पता चला कि सीमा गांव यहाँ पे है, ऐसे ऐसे ये सब है। तो मैंने बोला उनको कि हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने माय भारत प्लेटफॉर्म अवसर एक प्रदान किया है, प्लेटफॉर्म दिया है, जिसके थ्रू हम रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाया। उसके बाद हमें ये प्रोग्राम में क्विज कंपटीशन के द्वारा आने का मौका दिया गया। हमें तो पता भी नहीं था कि सीमा क्षेत्र में भी हमारे गांव है, लेकिन आज प्रधानमंत्री जी की वजह से हमें इस गांव तक आने का मौका मिला और देखने का मौका मिला। सर मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि वो जब मुझे पूछ रहे थे ना कि आप कहाँ पे रहते हो, तो मैं बताती थी कि मैं ना दादरा एंड नगर हवेली, दमन और दीव में रहती हूँ। तो कि वो कैसा दिखता है, तो सर मैं बड़े प्यार से बता दी।
वो समुन्दर के लिए पूछते होंगे कि समंदर कैसा होता है, क्योंकि आप तो समुद्री तट से गई थी। तो
हाँ सर, मैंने उनको बताया। और छोटे छोटे सर बच्चे भी पूछ रहे, दीदी आप कहाँ से हो, कैसा दिखता है आपका गांव? तो मैंने उसको बताया कि हमारे द्वीप पे चारों ओर समंदर है। तो वो बोल रही थी सर मुझसे, मुझे भी ले चलिए ना दीदी, मुझे भी ले चलिए ना दीदी। तो मैंने बोला कोई बात नहीं, मैं तुमको भी लेके चलूंगी कभी किसी दिन।
अच्छा, आने के बाद उनसे संपर्क रखा है?
हाँ सर, मैं आने के बाद ना वहाँ पे जिसने बड़े प्यार से मुझे रखा था ना, शकुंतला मैम और सुभाष सर, उनसे मैं व्हाट्सएप पे बात होती रहती है सर। मैं बताना चाहूंगी चांगो से सर वापस हम रिकांगपियो आए ना, तो आंटी फोन करके पूछती है कि बेटा पहुंच गए, सही है, तबीयत ठीक है, खाना खा लिया? सर मैं तो अपने घर पे फोन लगाना भूल गई थी। फिर एक दिन मेरे पापा ने फोन करके बताया कि निकिता हमको तो भूल ही गई हो लगता है। मैंने बोला कि मुझे महसूस ही नहीं हो रहा कि मैं अपने घर से दूर आई हूँ।
अच्छा निकिता जी, आप पहले भी कहीं गई हैं ऐसे अकेले घूमने, अपने तरफ अपनी हिम्मत करके कहीं जाना हुआ, ऐसा कभी हुआ पहले?
नहीं सर, ये पहली बार।
अच्छा, पहली बार हुआ। तो घर के लोगों को क्या लग रहा है अब?
सर यहाँ के जो मैं यहाँ से बाहर निकली ना सर, तब मेरे माता पिता ने मुझे पूछा था कि तुम कैसे जाने वाले हो, मगर सर मैं अकेली सफर करके, यात्रा करके निकली। तब मुझे सर बचपन में जो कविताएं मैंने सुनी थी भारत के बारे में, वो आज मैंने वास्तविक रूप से भारत को महसूस करके जिया है सर। और जब मैं सर वापस घर पे आई ना, तब मेरी मम्मी पापा मुझे क्या पूछ रहे पता है आपको? वो पूछ रहे हैं कि मैंने पूछा कि आप मैं आ गई, अब तो आप खुश होंगे ना? तो वो बोल रहे हमें भरोसा है हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी पे कि हमारी बच्चियों को और से और ऊपर तक लेके जाएगी। मैं क्या हाँ, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी की वजह से मैं वहां तक पहुंच पाई हूँ।
कभी गांव वालों से वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस कीजिए और आपके पूरे परिवार को बिठाकर गांव वालों से बातचीत कीजिए, क्योंकि आजकल तो वहां भी 4G तो पहुंच ही चुका है।
जी जी।
Well, that was the Prime Minister interacting with several youth as part of the Viksit Bharat Village program. And now we're taking a very short break, but coming up after a short break, we'll continue on the India making it clear on the Kargil Vijay Diwas that Rajnath Singh said no dialogue with Pakistan. There will be only talks on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Coming up next, stay tuned.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आरती और मसाला।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट, स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है। स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था। कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ।
क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था?
Then we can just the doctor can just
And I don't want to thank you, but express my feelings with you.
अन्ना पार्ट 2 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसका। हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ, कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहां? ये अन्ना पार्ट 2 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहेंगे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा। हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ, कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहां? सारे लद्दाख के लोग थे। आपकी अपनी डील हो रही है, आपने अपना डील करी है, इसके अलावा क्या है सरकार के साथ?
करने के बाद क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट देनी होगी कि मेरा अंशन कितना पवित्र था? मैंने तोड़ा तो किसके हाथों तोड़ा? अपने भाइयों और बहनों के छात्रों के लिए 26 दिन भूखा रहने के बाद, जिसमें कि मेरे 11 किलो शरीर खत्म हो चुका है, मसल्स चले गए हैं, ऑर्गन और दिमाग पर इरिवर्सिबल डैमेज लगभग होने के कागार पर पहुंचा है, और वो भी लद्दाख की कड़कती ठंड से दिल्ली की तपती धूप में बैठकर ये सब करने के बाद क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था? मैंने तोड़ा तो किसके हाथों तोड़ा? उसके हाथों क्यों तोड़ा? इसके हाथों क्यों नहीं तोड़ा? क्या डील हुआ? क्या सौदा हुआ? ये सब मुझे जवाब देना होगा। मैं कल से अब तरल।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Welcome back, friends. Republic joins the nation in paying tributes to the 527 martyrs of the 1999 Kargil War, even as Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh represented all of us in those icy heights of Dras and Kargil. That's going to be our focus all day and into the prime time. Let's begin with the headlines. India salutes bravehearts who sacrificed life for the nation on 27th Kargil Vijay Diwas.
साथियों, हमारा इंटेंशन साफ है कि अब पाकिस्तान से कोई बात नहीं होगी, और अगर बात होगी तो सिर्फ पीओके पर ही बात होगी, जो कि भारत का हिस्सा है, जिस पर पाकिस्तान ने अवैध तरीके से कब्जा किया था।
Defense Minister makes it clear no dialogue with Pakistan, only talks on POK.
अगर पाकिस्तान अपने घटिया मंसूबे लेकर हमारी समृद्धि, हमारी प्रॉस्पेरिटी के रास्ते में रोड़ा लेकर आता है, तो उसे करारा जवाब देने के लिए हमारी बहादुर सेनाएं बराबर तैयार बैठी हैं।
The Defense Minister also warns the Western neighbor, says if Pakistan attempts to obstruct our path with its nefarious designs, our armed forces are ready to deliver befitting response.
पाकिस्तान ने इस समय आतंकवाद को अपनी सरकारी नीति का एक हिस्सा बना लिया है। इसलिए हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के समय ही यह साफ कर दिया है कि भारत अब आतंकियों और उनका पोषण करने वाली सरकारों को अलग अलग करके नहीं देखेगा।
Rajnath Singh also underscores the new doctrine of war. India does not differentiate between terrorists and the government that backs terror.
भारतीय सेना का जो योद्धा है वो विश्व में किसी भी सेना के सैनिकों से इतना बढ़ चढ़कर है कि उसका मुकाबला भी नहीं किया जा सकता।
Speaking in Kargil, Chief of Army Staff General Veer Naris says Indian forces are superior to the soldiers of any other army in the world. All right, welcome friends again. In fact, just a while back, Prime Minister was speaking to children from the vibrant villages across the country. These are essentially villages along the border areas of India, and in fact, the Modi government is carrying out what's called the Viksit Vibrant Villages program. Prime Minister was interacting with the students of those villages from across the country via video conference. And in that interaction, one youngster gave the definition of what's Gen Z that impressed the Prime Minister. Let's listen to the youngster's definition of what's Gen Z in the backdrop of the protests that we have seen of late in Delhi.
प्रधानमंत्री जी, मैं समस्त माय भारत वॉलंटियर्स की तरफ से आपको यह आश्वासन देता हूं कि जिस विकसित भारत का संकल्प आपने लिया है और हमें दिया है, उसे पूर्ण करने में हम जेनजी तत्पर रहेंगे, क्योंकि जेनजी का मतलब है नेशन बिल्डिंग, जेनजी का मतलब है कैरेक्टर बिल्डिंग, जेनजी का मतलब है सेवा का पर्याय, जेनजी का मतलब है इनोवेशन, अर्थात जेनजी है नेशन फर्स्ट। प्रधानमंत्री जी, हम सभी युवाओं ने वहां पर जो कुछ एक्सपीरियंस किया उसे जर्नलाइज किया और हमने यह डिसाइड किया है कि हम उसे एक कंपाइल्ड एक्सपीरियंस नोट के जरिए आप तक जल्द ही साझा करेंगे। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
It's Kargil Vijay Diwas. India is remembering the martyrs, the bravehearts, the heroes of the 1999 Kargil War. We are proudly recalling the supreme sacrifice of the soldiers who laid down their lives for the sovereignty of our nation. Republic brings to you this exclusive ground coverage from Dras and Kargil, timeless testament to the bravery of Indian armed forces. On Kargil Vijay Diwas, at the same event, Army Chief General Dras Singh paid tributes to the martyrs and their families. He expressed renewed pride and said that Indian Army warriors are unmatched and superior to soldiers of any other army in the world. General Singh assured the nation that the army remains fully committed to India's progress and will continue raising the tricolor even higher.
अंदर एक किस्म का नई ऊर्जा, एक नया गर्व महसूस कर रहा हूं और इस मौके पर मैं हमारे बहादुर वीर शहीदों को विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं और साथ ही उनके परिवारों को भी अपना स्नेहपूर्वक नमन करता हूं। इस मौके पर हमारे साथ यहां देश के माननीय रक्षा मंत्री और उनकी हमारे बीच ये मौजूदगी एक भारतीय सेना के लिए आने वाले समय के लिए एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण प्रेरणा का स्रोत बनी रहेगी। आज यहाँ मैं आपके सामने इन वीरों को जब याद करता हूँ तो मुझे मेरे ही यूनिट के सैनिक द्वारा लिखी गई एक रचना याद आती है, जिसका मैं आपके सामने बयान करना चाहता हूँ। मरना सभी को है तुम भले मरे, मरना सभी को है तुम भले मरे, करके नमक हलाल लड़ते हुए गिरे, भूलोगे आप नहीं जो छिप गई शक्ल, सफ़ेद ज़मीं पर नाम हुआ तुम्हारा अटल। तो ये रचना इन सब वीरों के लिए इतनी सही है कि मैं सिर्फ इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ कि भारतीय सेना का जो योद्धा है वो विश्व में किसी भी सेना के सैनिकों से इतना बढ़ चढ़कर है कि उसका मुकाबला भी नहीं किया जा सकता। और इस मौके पर मैं देश को अपनी तरफ से यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूँ कि भारतीय थल सेना पूरे तरीके से देश की प्रगति में उनके साथ पूरी तरीके से देश के साथ हैं और आने वाले समय में देश के परचम को और भी ऊंचा लहराएंगे। जय हिंद और जय भारत।
Stirring words there by Chief of Army Staff General Dras Seth. Ishan, in fact, joins us live for more on this from Kargil itself. Ishan, you have been there for the last couple of days. You have seen the events panning out. You have seen how the nation is coming together to remember the martyrs and pays tributes to them and takes care of their families. And the Defence Minister firing a strong salvo there from those icy heights.
Absolutely. I have been here for the past 2 days. I have gone to all the locations where the Kargil war was fought. I have been to Lamaching viewpoint from where it is very clearly visible all the peaks in this sector that were captured. And after that, we also saw the Raksha Mantri and General Dras Seth pay tribute to the fallen soldiers in the icy heights. Now, this location is remarkably beautiful, but it is at the same time very challenging because this is at an altitude of over 11,000 feet I am right now, and this causes a lot of breathlessness. And to imagine that how our soldiers dominated these peaks against our enemy is a tremendous job done by them. Now, 27 years later, this Kargil Diwas, we also saw how the Indian Army has modernized, how newer equipment has been brought in, how the Indian Army is now protecting our border through various means of surveillance and satellite communications and all the latest tech and gear that they have employed over here. This Kargil Vijay Diwas, the Raksha Mantri clearly stated that the only dialogue with Pakistan will be on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and nothing else until then. And General Dras Seth rightly mentioned that Indian soldiers are the strongest and the bravest in the globe. Back to you, Abhishek.
Absolutely. And even as we come together as a nation to take care of the families of the martyrs, Pakistan, as was recently underscored by the Pakistani leaders, did not even remember or bother to take care those who laid their lives for their nation. Moving on for now, in fact, this is going to be our prime time focus. And staying with this, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, when he was speaking at the Kargil Vijay Diwas event there in Dras, said, "Our intention is clear. There will be no talks with Pakistan. If there are any, they will be only on Pak-occupied Kashmir, which is a part of India and illegally occupied by Pak." Clear message by Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister of the country, from the heights of Kargil. Listen to it.
साथियों, हमारे बहादुर सैनिकों ने हमेशा अपने शौर्य का परिचय दिया है, पराक्रम का परिचय दिया है। अभी हाल ही में हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर की सफलता का 1 वर्ष पूरा किया है। उस ऑपरेशन के दौरान हमारी जाबाज सेना के जवानों ने, अधिकारियों ने आतंकवादियों और उनके सरपरस्तों को ऐसा जवाब दिया है जिसे वे आजीवन कभी भूल नहीं पाएंगे। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ने यह साफ कर दिया है कि भारत को आतंकवाद के सहारे डराने का सपना देखने वालों का अब अंजाम क्या होगा। भारत पाकिस्तान के हर मिस एडवेंचर का जवाब उसकी कल्पना से कहीं अधिक कठोर तरीके से देने की क्षमता रखता है। और मैं इस मंच से यह साफ संदेश देना चाहता हूं कि भारत की संप्रभुता की ओर बढ़ने वाला हर नापाक कदम का यही अंजाम होगा। साथियों, हमारा इंटेंशन साफ है कि अब पाकिस्तान से कोई बात नहीं होगी, और अगर बात होगी तो सिर्फ पीओके पर ही बात होगी, जो कि भारत का हिस्सा है, जिस पर पाकिस्तान ने अवैध तरीके से कब्जा किया था।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also said that while India provides data centers, Pakistan is creating terror centers. Listen to him.
साथियों, पाकिस्तान ने इस समय आतंकवाद को अपनी सरकारी नीति का एक हिस्सा बना लिया है और वहां पर मिलिट्री और मिलिटेंट्स के बीच का फर्क पूरी तरह से समाप्त हो चुका है। वहां की सेना आतंकवादी संगठनों को संरक्षण ही नहीं देती है, उनके साथ मिलकर काम भी करती है। इसलिए हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के समय ही यह साफ कर दिया है कि भारत अब आतंकियों और उनका पोषण करने वाली सरकारों को अलग अलग करके नहीं देखेगा। साथियों, कारगिल युद्ध को बीते हुए लगभग 27 साल गुजर गए हैं और इन वर्षों में आज भारत और पाकिस्तान के रास्ते साफ साफ अलग दिख रहे हैं। आज भारत इनोवेशन के रास्ते खोज रहा है तो पाकिस्तान इन्फिल्ट्रेशन के नए रास्ते खोज रहा है। भारत शिप डिजाइन कर रहा है तो पाकिस्तान टेरर डिजाइन में लगा हुआ है। भारत स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम खड़ा कर रहा है तो पाकिस्तान टेरर इकोसिस्टम खड़ा कर रहा है। भारत से भी कंडक्टर्स बना रहा है तो पाकिस्तान सुसाइड बॉम्बर्स तैयार कर रहा है। भारत स्पेस मिशन के लिए जाना जा रहा है तो पाकिस्तान प्रॉक्सी मिशन चला रहा है। भारत अंतरिक्ष में सैटेलाइट भेज रहा है तो पाकिस्तान आज भी आतंकवादियों को सीमाओं के पार भेजने में लगा हुआ है। भारत दुनिया को सॉफ्टवेयर दे रहा है तो पाकिस्तान दुनिया को स्लीपर सेल्स दे रहा है। भारत डाटा सेंटर्स बना रहा है तो पाकिस्तान रेडिकल सेंटर्स बना रहा है। भारत यूपीआई से दुनिया को जोड़ रहा है तो पाकिस्तान हवाला से आतंकवाद को जोड़ रहा है। यानी हमारे रास्ते अलग अलग हैं। ऐसे में अगर पाकिस्तान अपने घटिया मंसूबे लेकर हमारी समृद्धि, हमारी प्रॉस्पेरिटी के रास्ते में रोड़ा लेकर आता है तो उसे करारा जवाब देने के लिए हमारी बहादुर सेनाएं बराबर तैयार बैठी हैं। जब हमारी सरकार बनी थी तो भारत 65 से लेकर 70% डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट्स इंपोर्ट करता था, लेकिन आज इसके ठीक विपरीत हम 65% डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट भारत में ही मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे हैं। लेकिन साथियों, देश का रक्षा मंत्री होने के नाते मैं आप सबको आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं और प्रधानमंत्री जी का जैसा हमारा संकल्प है उस आधार पर भी आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं, लेकिन हम यहीं रुकेंगे नहीं। आज हमारे सैनिकों के पास इंडिजिनसली डेवलप्ड एयर डिफेंस कंट्रोल सिस्टम आकाश तीर है। हमने नेक्स्ट जनरेशन आकाश मिसाइल बना ली है। हमारे पास पिनाका मल्टी बैरल रॉकेट लॉन्चर है। एयर टू एयर मिसाइल अस्त्रा है। प्रचंड और ध्रुव जैसी स्वदेशी हेलीकॉप्टर हैं। तेजस लड़ाकू विमान है। अर्जुन टैंक है और आधुनिक ड्रोन तथा काउंटर ड्रोन सिस्टम है। भारत का पहला स्वदेशी एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर INS विक्रांत भी भारतीय नौसेना में शामिल हो गया है। लेकिन अभी भी ये दिल मांगे मोर, हम इतने पर नहीं रुकेंगे। आगे भी हम भारत में अधिक मॉडर्न वेपन्स, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट, सबमेरिन्स और मिसाइल्स बनाने के लिए कार्य करते रहेंगे। लेकिन साथियों, सिर्फ सरकार के प्रयास से ही यह पर्याप्त नहीं है। राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा सिर्फ सीमाओं पर तैनात जवानों का काम नहीं है, यह हर नागरिक का कर्तव्य है।
In fact, our armed forces have done a tremendous display of the kind of changes that have taken place in India's defense arsenal right there in the heights of Kargil, and that's going to be our prime time program. Be there at 8 p.m. Moving out for now and on to another big political row panning out in Punjab, where the Maan government is being questioned on paper leaks. BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa, who is a minister in the Delhi government, has questioned Bhagwant Man's silence, whereas the Punjab CM has now released a statement saying there were no paper leaks at all. Let us first listen in to the allegations by the BJP.
आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता मनीष सिसोदिया बहुत चिल्ला चिल्ला के बोल रहे थे हमारा पेपर लीक होगा तो हम मंत्री को रिजाइन कराएंगे। कल भी और परसों भी अभिजीत दीपी के जो कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष हैं, जब उनसे पूछा गया कि क्या पंजाब पेपर लीक पर रिजाइन होना चाहिए, तो उन्होंने कहा बिल्कुल पंजाब पेपर लीक पर भी रिजाइन होना चाहिए। लेकिन ये बच्चों के नाम पर ड्रामा करने वाली, नौटंकी करने वाली पार्टी, बच्चों के कंधों पे बंदूक रखकर बंदूक चलाने वाली पार्टी आज अपने मंत्री हरजोत बैंस का इस्तीफा नहीं ले रहे। कल जब वो मॉब ने भी उनसे पूछा कि आप अपने पंजाब का इस्तीफा कब लेंगे, बड़े शर्म की बात है। ये झूठे, ये बेईमान, ये नौटंकीबाज और हमेशा ही अपनी गंदी राजनीति के लिए लोगों को, बच्चों का नुकसान कराने वाली आम आदमी पार्टी आज हरजोत बैंस का इस्तीफा लेने से भाग गई। जो खुद चला चला किसी आंदोलन में आके कहते थे, आज वो कहीं आपको दिखेंगे नहीं। इससे पता चलता है कि कितने बेईमानों की, फ्रॉडियों की और झूठों की पार्टी है अरविंद केजरीवाल, मनीष सिसोदिया और भगवंत मान के अंदर भी कुछ स्पाइन नहीं है कि वो अपने मंत्री का इस्तीफा ले पाए। बच्चों के भविष्य खराब किया गया, लाखों रुपए में वो पेपर बेचे गए और हजारों बच्चों के भविष्य के ऊपर ये तलवार लटकाने वाली पार्टी, आम आदमी पार्टी, आज बेशर्मों की तरह भाग रही है, लेकिन हरजोत बैंस का इस्तीफा नहीं मांग रही।
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੋਰਟੀ ਦਿੰਨਾ, ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਜੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੇਪਰ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਭੈਣ ਭਾਈਆਂ ਨੇ, ਛੋਟੇ ਭੈਣ ਭਾਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਪੇਪਰ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ। 4.5 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣੀ ਨੂੰ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਪੇਪਰ ਲੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ, ਇੱਕ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਪੇਪਰ ਵੀ ਲੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਦੋ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚੀਟਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਆਈ ਸੀ, ਡਿਜੀਟਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਲੂਟੁੱਥ ਵਾਲੇ ਪੈਨ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਪੇਪਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਕੈਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਭੇਜ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ। ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਨਸਰ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ। 10 ਮਿੰਟ ਪੇਪਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਆ ਹੁਣੇ ਫਾਰਮੇਸੀ ਦੇ ਪੇਪਰ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਆਈ ਸੀ। 10 ਮਿੰਟ ਪੇਪਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚੀਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਫੜੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੀ ਹੋਈ। ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੇਪਰ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਗੈਂਗ ਸੀਗਾ ਚੀਟਿੰਗ ਵਾਲਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ 3-3 ਲੱਖ 4-4 ਲੱਖ 5-5 ਲੱਖ ਰੁਪਈਆ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੇਪਰ ਦਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਫੜਿਆ ਤੇ ਫੜ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ 'ਚ ਕੀਤਾ। 21 ਬੰਦੇ ਟੋਟਲ।
All right, this is all we could pack up in this bulletin. A short break coming up on the other side. Our defense forces first. Be there.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया? आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
ठंडक लाए सबको भाई जीरा से, MTH का जल जीरा, जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ।
क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था? And I don't want to thank you, but express my feelings first.
अन्ना पार्ट 2 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहेंगे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा। हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ, कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहां? ये अन्ना पार्ट 2 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहेंगे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा। हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है। स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
यानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े, चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
Now moving on to the next session, when we were actually thinking about conceptualizing, we named it the missing link, leapfrogging indigenous tech. We actually wanted to highlight the missing link in the Indian technology sector as far as defense is concerned. The missing link that we were actually talking about or wanted to highlight in this session actually refers to what has already been well documented. In fact, India's defense electronics market is projected to grow at nearly 15% annually toward about $10.6 billion by 2027. Yet, the country spent over $4.5 billion on defense electronics imports as recently as 2020-2021, according to the CIPRI data. Now, this is precisely the missing link that this session will actually address.
And for this session, I would like to call on stage Mr. Ashok Kanodia, Chairman, MSME Committee, SIDM, Chairman. Also, Professor Rajiv Ahuja, Director, IIT Ropar. Nilesh Tungar, CEO, Kalyani Strategic System Limited. And Dr. Hari Babu Srivastava, former DG, Technology Management, DRDO. And my colleague, Rakshita, will do this session. So, Rakshita, the stage is yours.
Yeah. Big round of applause for all the guests.
Thank you so much, Shivangi and Pranav. So,
very important decision today as we talk about the industry leaders and what does the industry need to become truly Atma Bharat. When we talk about Make in India in different sectors, in defense, what is the missing link? Gentlemen, we're going to discuss about that. And Mr. Kanodia, if I start with you, in your understanding, when we talk about becoming completely Atmanirbhar, what would be, in your assessment, the critical enablers that will be required to achieve this scalable indigenous design, the resilience of the supply chains to be achieved, and also export competitiveness?
Thank you, Republic, for giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, Rakshita. A good question. When you are looking at Atmanirbharta, the critical enabler would always be the indigenous design, which means IP creation. The 3 points that you made, the scalability. If you have your own design, scalability is not an issue. You can scale it depending upon what the user is looking for, life cycle support, upgrades, everything is possible. Second point that you talked about is supply chain resilience. If you are designing yourself, you have actually designed the system in such a fashion that you are never in a position that your supply may be hampered. So resilience is built in. If there is a product that I'm taking normally from a country which is ITAR controlled, or where there is a requirement which you feel in time to come will create a problem, then I will always avoid it. So supply chain resilience comes along with it. Third thing is the export opportunity. Friends, you must realize that when you are talking about defense export, you are talking about product that is yours. Whatever product has been designed in joint development or it has been taken in TOT, actually the TOT provider decides whether you are in a position to export or not, because you have signed the end-use certificate. So if you have your own design, then only you export. So the figures that we talk about, 38,000 crores in the morning of exports, basically these are components. And when we talk about exports of platforms like BrahMos, it is because our technology partner, which is Russia, has allowed us to do the export. So if you are looking at key enablers, for these 3, IP creation is the key enabler.
Mr. Nilesh, if I could come to you on this, just taking forward from the requirement when we talk about, as Mr. Kanodia also tells us, how when we talk about leading now, emerging as a defense exporter, what are the key factors at play according to you? I also want to understand from you, is it because we are becoming better? Are we focusing on a certain areas, or is it that the demand is increasing, that the world is needing more diversification of suppliers?
So firstly, congratulations to Republic Media Network. I think it's fabulous in terms of the conclave that has been put. The fact that on the panel today you have, the industry, the MSME, the academia, and the research labs together, I think it sets the right tone, and probably we'll get to that conversation for sure. See, Mr. Kanodia spoke about exports. The reality in life is, unless you own the IP or technology, you will absolutely have restrictions to do what you want to do. It, of course, takes a lot of effort to put that in. But let me give you some of the backgrounds that have gone in. The whole of India approach that we spoke about in different forms. We spoke about the fact, in terms of how we want to approach to solve a problem. But as I think Mr. Ramchandani spoke a little earlier, it's a geopolitical play. Defense is always a geopolitical instrument. And to play that, you need MOD, MEA, you need your missions to work for you, you need your system to work for you. And I think India has done that one part incredibly well, the way this country has gone about in terms of the whole engagement that has happened, as an image of the country and the engagement with other foreign countries, number one. Number two, the whole play that has happened in terms of the way the products have been designed and created. Creating a platform is one hell of a challenge. And you need to stay invested in doing that. And which is what India today talks about in terms of frontline products. Yes, those have come with collaboration with DRDO in terms of Akash, Pinaka, and the multiple things that have happened. But there has been a lot of work that has happened in the supply chain part as well. So there are Indian companies who have actually done the effort, and are part of the global supply chain of OEMs, so to speak. So from an export, and if you look at the flux that we are in when it comes to geopolitics today, being a reliable partner, the way India has created its image, where one can actually rely and work with India to be there when the requirement is, I think that has been a big change that has happened in the whole process. So being a reliable partner also makes a difference. I mean, today Europe is actually searching. We talked about, a lot of people spoke about the fact of what's happening in Europe. The challenge today is that they are looking at a reliable partner to look at things. So from that perspective, it's not just that India has got better. India certainly has got better. I mean, in the last 10 years, I mean, I don't want to play the statistics back to you, but I think we spoke about everything else in terms of, you know, the number of licenses. I mean, the interesting statistics that nobody spoke about was, there is a what should I say, analyst report which says the earnings per share of the defense companies through 2028 will be almost 32% annually growing. So you can understand the value that is getting created, you know, in addition to the exports that we do, the production that we do, the budgets that we have. So from a play perspective, I think it's a huge play that has happened as a nation, as whole, so to speak.
Dr. Srivastava, I want to come to you. In the role of organization like DRDO that has been, of course, been at the forefront, we've seen that, it is right now working extensively and very much focused on Atmanirbharta. Throughout the past decade, what have you noticed that would be the, I would say, the propelling factors towards this, this sort of a focus on, or I would say hyper-focus on Atmanirbharta now? And what are the factors? Also, you can give us your reaction on our two previous answers, the two panelists who have just right now enlightened us upon. So if you could just add to that, and what are the factors in your assessment?
So, as you heard a lot of the speakers in the morning, there was a time when we were doing build to print. That means DRDO was giving the designs, and industry was printing that, kind of making that in the workshops and trying to put that system out for the services to evaluate. That situation had changed because DRDO and the industry, they worked together hand in hand through various schemes. And the agility of industry and the technical background of DRDO that has brought about the change from BTP to BTS, build to print to build to specifications. Now, next generation industry is going to be built to idea. The services will say that this is the kind of warfare likely to evolve tomorrow. What kind of systems the country should have? I think that is where the country is going to go for. And we have no doubt that we have the capability to do it. The question is, do we have the capacity? Capacity not in terms of money. Money, as a lot of speakers said, plenty of money is available. The defense budget is increasing every year, and the procurements are increasing, so industry has money. The question is, even if the industry creates another production center, do we have people to man it? And that is where I think there is a requirement to upskill, reskill, and initial skill of the people that we have in the country. So a lot of initiatives need to be taken for upskilling and skilling of our people, and then creating large number of facilities, the test equipment, etc. What my co-panelist said, a lot of exports is happening because of components and assemblies and subsystems, which is true. The large-scale export is of few items like ATAX and maybe the BrahMos. There is a possibility that we can do. For example, the Latin American countries and maybe the African countries, they don't require 4.5 generation, 5th generation aircraft. Probably they require only 4th generation and below. Now, we have no policy in the country that somebody can be funded for making a lower generation. Whatever our services require, that only can be funded by the government. Export-oriented activity, that has to be taken up as a cause for the country, then only maybe this kind of things can happen. So I think there are a large number of things that can be done. It is not that we have done everything. And if we need to reach where the RM set the goals and the industry has set the much higher goals for 2047, if we need to reach there, the new set of reforms, etc., have to be brought in.
Now, Professor Ahuja, I would come to you on this. And now we've seen that how India has been, we've been spending a lot on research also. And when it comes to institutions like IIT, the organizations, they've also spent a lot of time in research. And if you compare it to other countries, sir, where do you find India contributing to research, focusing on research, so that we can bring in this attitude of Atmanirbharta in real time and, even go on to, have wartime production also in place?
So thank you. Actually, I'm living for the last 32 years in Sweden. So I see the mindset. First thing is that our mindset, we have to change it actually. So we are still thinking like if academia is doing in their silos or they are working in their comfort zones actually. So there's not much interaction with the industry, whether it's a private or it's a government. So that's a thing different I see in India and compared to the Europe or like in Sweden. So their industry comes to academia. And they will say that, why I should do R&D? You do R&D for me, actually. So they come to you, they give you the problems, they say, this is your problem, you have to solve it. And they involve you from the day one. It's not like here, I do here up to TRL level 3 or 4, and then it will go to some startup or industry, then transfer. So you are from the day one, you are a partner of industry. And there I see that if I go to industry, I don't feel any difference between academia or industry actually. We are working in a same kind of environment in academia also, as well as in industry also. So the integration is very easy there. Whereas in India, it's a task because as I told you that sometime maybe I can say that maybe industry doesn't trust academia. Could be because the delivery time, because academia has their own timeline, but industry has a timeline because they cannot wait maybe years for you come up something and then they will start. So we have to think about timeline also, and our faculty in the institution like IITs, they should be open and they should invest their time in the way that they can deliver on time. So in principle, you have to come to out of your comfort zone. And if we change our mindset and if we can work as a team, that is very important. That we are missing here. I can tell you when I was there, I never use word I. I always say that we will do it. So we need that kind of mindset to deliver it. If we work in a team, in the morning also, collaboration is important. If we work in a team, we can deliver it. And that kind of mindset we have to change in Indian academia, as well in industry also, that they should trust more on academia. Thank you.
So collaboration could be the missing link, or the lack of collaboration.
Yeah, that's true actually. So because that's what is a missing part here. That's what I'm saying, that there you are so integrated with academia and industry. I never feel any difference. Actually, I was working big companies there, and they are in contact with me actually. So they say, okay, this is the problem, you deliver it. So that kind of culture we have to bring in Indian academia. Because just only funding will not work. As everybody are saying, funding is enough, but the mindset is not enough. So we have to change the mindset.
Dr. Srivastava, you wanted to come in?
Thought I'll just add to what Professor said. To break that silo, we from DRDO created 15 DRDO industry academia centers of excellence in 15 IITs, central universities, and other places. This was in 2022. And that time we identified some 65 different subjects or disciplines, and each center was told that you will specialize in this, but you will be consolidating the research in the whole of the country. It is not that if it is in IIT Delhi, they will do only for IIT Delhi. They will do for the whole of the country. The requirement is this 15 numbers to explode, to become 45 today. But that has remained static. If you look at the countries like US, they have FFRDCs, they have UARCs. You look at China, if I remember the figure correct, 269 such centers. We have 15. So I think there is a need to multiply and, as I said, explode those numbers. And naturally, we will have to have faith on each other, then only we can do it. Otherwise, we cannot do it.
So that is, I think, one takeaway from this discussion. And Mr. Kanodia, if I could come to you on what more, apart from collaboration, the trust, integration, what about multiplying of finances, of incentivization? Where do you feel is there a need for better encouragement for innovation and incentivize indigenous capability innovation?
When you talk about financing, many things have already been said, but from an MSME perspective, we don't die because we don't have ideas, we don't die because we have a bad product, we don't die because our product is not right. We shut shop because the cash flow. It is the cash flow that kills us. Now let me give you two examples to illustrate what I'm trying to tell you. Government came with a policy, SIDM has been working on that instead of a bank guarantee, you can issue a surety bond. Now, what is the difference? The difference is the bank guarantee comes from your bank limits. So you have a finite bank limit, and if you are using it for bank guarantee, then it's less cash available in hand. When you talk about surety bond, it is collateral free. It has nothing to do with the bank. It goes from the insurance company. And this we have been asking for because in Western country, in America, if you ask for bank guarantee, nobody understands. It's only insurance surety bonds. Government of India, this is where I want to take what Professor Saab has said about mindset. Government of India passed it in 22nd, 2022 in the Parliament on the budget. By 1st of March, GFR was changed. IRIDA, which is the insurance regulator, they approved the draft. Where we are today? 26. Defense sector is yet to implement it fully. If this is the way we work, then tell me, how do we move forward at the pace which the environment wants us to? Let me give you a second example. Cash defense scheme. You see, why I'm giving these two examples is, the fundamental is, do you have collateral? And MSME does not have enough collateral. Otherwise, I would be Bharat Forge. But unfortunately, I'm not. So it's not their problem, it's my problem. Now, we have been talking about collateral-free schemes from the government from time to time. SIDBI came out with a scheme of cash defense. A wonderful scheme. It answered all our pleas, and it was collateral-free. They were providing working capital against a defense purchase order. There is no equivalent scheme available in the system that this is. Where do SIDBI gets its money? They get their money from the credit guarantee scheme of the government, where the government is actually taking 90% of the risk. Recently, they have come up with the lines of credit of 2 lakh crores, where the risk they have taken is 100% in view of the current scenario. Now, what does SIDBI do? The SIDBI bankers, they put their bank hat on. The eligibility is like a normal banking, 3 saal ki balance sheet or CIBIL score and everything. And then they come up with 30% FD upfront. Come on. Is that what we were asking for? Is that the reason why the government gave you the money? But borrowing his word, mindset, It is precisely that problem. There is no trust. There is a trust deficit. MSME, high risk. Defense sector, bob. This is like Karela or Neem Chada. It's that bad. So where do we get our money? The funniest point is, when we were having multiple discussions with SIDBI, they said, "Sab, risk thodi high hai." Very good. Let me explain. Now, what is the risk? The Navy is not giving me order just because I happen to, they liked my face. They don't do that. Whatever I am offering, they are testing. General Saab here is testing thoroughly, validating, approving. Do you remember these two kids who came in the morning? I don't know whether you noticed or not the number of NC trials they went through. Remember? He rattled off names. I know all of them. But my advice to them would be, why the hell did you do it? NC, no cost, no commitment. The underlying fact is no commitment. That is what is the reality today. Now coming back to the subject. Our problem is mindset. Now, look at one part of the government, which is providing all kinds of policy instruments for a Viksit Bharat. They are saying that, we need to be, Atmanirbharta se sovereignty, Samprabhuta. That is what their slogan is. And look at the other side. As if they are completely disjointed. Ye Hindustan, Pakistan hai. Why? And unless this changes, प्रधानमंत्री ने ये मंत्री जी ने कहा था ना ...
Any of you would like to fill in the blanks?
Actually, to add to Mr. Kanodia, and by the way, he's been the biggest voice of MSMEs in India for quite a while now. The interesting aspect is there have been amazing reforms that have been done in the last 10 years. You see multiple programs like IDEX, Aditi, where we've been able to get the technology innovation part going right. The challenge is that we want them to invest equal amount of money that the government invests. So for example, you want to give 1.5 crores, you want them to invest 1.5 crores. They don't have, if that capital was available, I don't think they would even look at this story. But let me tell you the positive side of things, the way they've happened now. The biggest change is that we have taken that privileged access part out of the system. Today, you have the armed forces and the entire setup actually coming to you and telling you what the requirement is. Today, interestingly, the Northern Command, when the NORTEC happened, they actually constituted 9 groups where they put a 2-star general to be heading those groups, where the issue of access is over. If you have technology, you have access. You can actually go and test. The second part they did was they put a testing facility there. We spoke a couple of sessions back about EW, jamming, the whole aspect of our drone surviving, jamming the adversary's drones. Where do you test them? And by the way, they're not available just like that as facility. So they created that. And you know what has happening now? The whole issue, we spoke about, NCNC trials and how many times. The whole issue is the technology cycle today is 3 years, which means in 3 years, the technology generation changes.
In drone, it is quarterly based.
Probably weeks, I was told. So the fun part is that here we are with our NCNC trials and process, cutting that entire process down to saying, fail fast. The whole procurement of Indian system is fail safe. When you buy, it meets all my requirements. Today, what we've created is fail fast. You get a feedback, you can go back, do things, come back again. So those few changes that we have done will go a long way in terms of, one, getting the startups to realize their solutions faster, the armed forces to get solutions much faster. And at the end of the day, the technology cycle will play a huge role. And innovation, our IP, our technology, that is what is going to get created. That is the big change that has happened.
Yes, sir, please.
So I can understand him. if in India, who needs more help when it's come to collaboration with the academic institution is MSMEs. Because they don't have ecosystem or research that kind of manpower. So we as IITs or any institution, we should help them because they need us. And we don't need the big houses who can afford actually.
So is there a system for that in place, or is there a setup for that?
In our IIT, we say that, okay, you come once or twice in a semester, bring your problems. Because sometimes I talk to MSME says that we think this problem is too small, so we feel that why should we go to IIT, and they don't get their problem solved. So we have to be open. And I can make a difference for them actually. And if we have to grow the skilling, what we are talking, the job providers, MSME is the biggest sector which is providing a job. So my responsibility, how I can help MSME and how I can make a difference. Working with them because they are in our need. Other maybe don't need us, but MSME need us. So this is the way we have to grow.
Dr. Srivastava, what could be the practical recommendation for bridging these gaps, especially when we earlier talked about the collaboration between industry and government, and of course the support to the MSMEs in focus of this conversation? So basically I'm just talking about what could be in your understanding, the recommendations from your side in your assessment that could boost this collaboration and bridge these gaps that we're discussing.
So few things actually can be tried between academia and industry. Especially defense industry and defense laboratories especially, the entry is difficult for obvious reasons. And when the academia comes, certain things are not shown to them. When the private industry comes, certain things are not shown to them, and maybe vice versa also. One is that if we can have some joint appointments. For example, IIT professor can be a joint scientist in a laboratory or in an industry, a joint engineer, and there people coming here as a joint professor or whatever designation one can bring out. So this will create kind of kinship or ownership. IIT Ropar, for example, will have ownership with, let us say, a company. So, but for that probably you may need to change some rules and regulations and all that. This is one. Second, on the financing part, what Mr. Kanodia was telling, MSME is still you have 5 years of income tax and GST and all that history. The young entrepreneur, startup, if he goes to bank to ask the loan, he is asked for the guarantee. Which guarantee he can give? Only his parents' property, which is not accepted because it is parents, not his. So we need to create those conditions where the money can easily flow in. Thirdly, the government schemes that we have, various missions that Government of India has provided, all money can go to the industry or startups which are affiliated with one or the other academic institution. If he is totally independent entity, it is next to impossible to get any funding. I think we need to look those subtle things now which will create difference for them. Every entrepreneur doesn't want to share everything, as Mr. Kora also said, I will not be able to share every detail because naturally it's got business sense and all. So every entrepreneur will not share everything with everybody. But if we can get some kind of a confidence building measures between institutions, between industry, I think that can happen, and then the banking system that can also pump in some money.
So I think confidence building, trust building, and I think a system and an environment, rather encouraging environment to have that trust, establish that trust, and bring this collaboration in place. Sir, just as a closing note from your side, sir, on privatization, we talk about privatization a lot in recent times. We're talking about the private players in defense sector coming in, be it aviation, be it any sector, from biggest to the every level. We're talking about private sector coming in, sir. What is your view on that? How encouraging has been the response, or are we just talking about it right now? How much of it is happening on ground?
I wish you have not asked this question to me. I'm thinking what to answer, because the correct answer, nobody would like it. So, being politically correct.
No, No, sir, you can be honest, and we want to listen from you. We want to hear from you.
Really?
It's Republic State, sir, yes.
Okay. You know, when a large company goes to the government and he talks to the government, he talks about MSME, he doesn't talk about himself. Why? MSME sells. MSME has that appeal. Startups, MSME, these are the big words. Private sector. You know when private sector was allowed to come in? 2001. अभी तो केवल 25 साल हुए हैं. Only 25 years. And in 25 years, where we have reached? Arun Ramchandani talked about that our share is 25%. He was very generous. In the last 3 years, our percentage remains flat. Volumes have not gone up. Now, why? I will again use the word mindset. On one hand, you want IP creation. On the other hand, you want at least 3 people should come with same IP product. Then I will start giving orders. If it is single vendor, you see, never in last 30 years of defense meetings, seminars, and I have attended a few, I have ever seen defense finance person sitting. Never. 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 Why? And where is the problem? Their mindset is still, I don't know where. If I have a product, and I'm telling you from personal experience, if it is single vendor, the first question is, अपना bill of material और costing दिखाइए. मेरे दिमाग की कीमत दिखाऊं क्या आपको? If you have created an RFP, have you created without a benchmarking? Didn't you know what you are buying? Didn't you know what the cost of your purchases ought to be? Am I so off that you need to see my costing and why? ये mindset change नहीं होगा ना, तो हम अभी 10 साल और इसी तरह भाषण देते रहेंगे. जो 10 साल पहले मेरा presentation था, आज भी वही है. I was a part of the Kelkar committee when the major reforms took place. I can show you. Presentations are exactly the same. Level playing field आपने कब से सुना है? जब से आप रिपब्लिक में. इसको बोलते बोलते तो बाल सफेद हो गए. लेकिन लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड का वर्ड हम यूज क्यों करते हैं? हम क्यों इस तरह की बात करते हैं? So look, things have to change dramatically. What frustrates me, I'll just take 1 minute. What frustrates me, as I mentioned earlier, देखिए, प्रॉब्लम वहां होती है जहां पॉलिसी ना हो. पॉलिसी बनवाना सरकार से इज नॉट अ जोक. इट्स एन एफर्ट, इट टेक्स लॉट ऑफ टाइम. हमारे यहां तो वो सिचुएशन है कि पॉलिसी सारी बन गई है. मालूम है 3 प्रॉब्लम क्या है? इंप्लीमेंटेशन, इंप्लीमेंटेशन, इंप्लीमेंटेशन. बताइए मैं क्या कहूं? दैट्स द इश्यू. Each and every top 500 to 1,000 companies have a design house in India, hiring thousands of engineers. वो हम पे ट्रस्ट करते हैं, लेकिन हमारे फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस डिफेंस के ऑर्डर को ट्रस्ट नहीं करते हैं. वो ये नहीं समझते हैं that I have spent 2 years of my hard work to come to a stage where he has placed an order on me. और वो कहते हैं रिस्क हाई है. They don't understand the system. The mindset is still where? I don't know. If the Pradhan Mantri wants to do something, this is where he needs to do a lobotomy. That's the major problem. You know, many parts have already been settled. Why all of a sudden startup culture has come? Have you realized why? All of a sudden platforms are not required anymore. आपने यूक्रेन की लड़ाई में टैंक्स देखे क्या? टैंक्स तो पहले दिन ही उड़ गए थे बाय 5,000 रुपी ड्रोन्स. हमारे सिंदूर में जहाज को क्रॉस किए. ईरान में क्या हो रहा है? ऑल ऑफ अ सडन द रिक्वायरमेंट इज ऑफ अ कंप्लीटली न्यू टाइप ऑफ वॉरफेयर फॉर विच द ब्रेन्स आर अवेलेबल विद द यूनिवर्सिटी. द ब्रेन्स आर अवेलेबल विद द यंग. That's the reason things are changing. Lastly, I can't stop myself. We are reactive as a nation, never proactive. Don't we know what is the future like? Don't we know what the Sindhu 2.0 would be? Don't we know who our adversaries are going to be? What are we doing? आपको यदि मिलियन ड्रोन्स चाहिए तो दीजिए ऑर्डर्स, और दिए जा रहे हैं. Look, we have to change quite a lot. Mindset of the defense, finance is the first thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And that's why we're having these conversations here on Republic. And as we have this conversation on the third edition of the conclave, thank you so much, gentlemen. Really appreciate you joining us, all of you, with your insights and your expertise, of course, really is valued. And thank you so much for sharing with us your experience and what you think about Bharat's future as a defense powerhouse. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for highlighting the much needed and much, the requirement of missing links in India's defense tech. Thank you very much.
हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ.
क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था? And I don't want to thank you, but express my feelings.
अन्ना पार्ट 2, 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुप साहब खामोश रहे. ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा. हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ. कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहां? ये अन्ना पार्ट 2, 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुप साहब खामोश रहेंगे. ये कुछ नहीं है इसके अलावा. हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ. कोई छात्र भी था क्या वहां? सारे लद्दाख के लोग थे. आपकी अपनी डील हो रही है, आपने अपना डील करी है. इसके अलावा क्या है सरकार के साथ?
करने के बाद क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था? मैंने तोड़ा तो किसके हाथों तोड़ा? अपने भाइयों और बहनों के छात्रों के लिए.
Hello viewers, today on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Diwas, India is remembering the martyrs, the bravehearts. We are proudly recalling the supreme sacrifice of the soldiers who laid down their lives for the sovereignty of our nation. Republic brings you exclusive ground coverage from Kargil, timeless testament to the bravery of the Indian armed forces. In fact, also watch this report filed by my colleague Rakshita from the Amar Jawan Jyoti.
We have, in tribute to the heroes of Kargil, we have the bike rally that is taken out every year from the National War Memorial in Delhi to the Kargil War Memorial. And I have with me, sir, your name?
My name is Group Captain Sanjay Mishra.
And
Priya Mishra.
And they're part of the bike rally team. And sir, how do you feel today completing this rally here from Delhi to Kargil?
Fantastic. It's not an easy ride. It's quite a grueling one. Further made difficult by bad weather in Ladakh last few days. Icy winds, rain, the passes were snowing, and absolutely unforgiving terrain. more than that, it was the feeling of accomplishment coming here and get a chance to pay tribute to this holy place. And we went to all the war memorials en route and collected that sacred soil from the Pawan Mitti, got it here, and we ended our ride here. So the mission accomplished. Got a chance to pay our tributes to all the fallen, and also got a chance to see my old aeroplane, which is there. I've flown that very pleased.
Okay.
And after retirement, that's Tololing.
Yeah.
That was the bloodiest battle, as you know, most hardest to, and exemplary examples of bravery and courage in capturing this hill. So goosebump moments. Absolute goosebumps.
You have to move a little ahead because there's a photo op of the officers going on. So, ma'am, how does it feel today when, you can move ahead, how does it feel today when the Raksha Mantri also sent out this message, remembering the Kargil heroes, and how the soldiers today also show that indomitable spirit? When you come here, you also get inspired by the spirit?
Yes, I do. This is my third rally for Kargil, and I carry that spirit of the armed forces. And I want to spread awareness that the life and sacrifice of this, the different war memorials we went to, the soil, the bloodshed over there, they're all valuable to this country's safety and everything.
Yes. And ma'am, your next adventure?
Another rally with the army. It's impeccable.
Yes.
Yes.
And how important is, these events to continue to, tell the youngsters today to send the message that what the forces stand for, which, unite this huge country that we have, this diverse country that we have.
Yes, this is a very, it's a very auspicious moment actually for people to feel very patriotic. And these are little gestures like going on a motorcycle rally, meeting Veer Naris, and, sharing their, that there is somebody for you. And, the lives they have lost is not just futile. It's something we like to relive the stories while we travel. We meet them, we give them some more courage and build, a great love for our country.
From the Amar Jawan Jyoti at the Kargil War Memorial, as India marks 27 years of Operation Vijay, we are here at the cenotaph, here where the Tiranga flies high, and we have Indians, proud Indians, who are paying tribute, floral tribute to the heroes of our nation. We show you this flame. It's an immortal flame, viewers. As Indians today salute, we can see every year we see civilians, officers, veterans, locals all gathering here to pay tribute to the nation. This is the indomitable spirit of our soldiers and stories that the nation should remember. We never forget what happened 27 years before. Right behind this we see are the names and the regiments of all the shaheeds of Operation Vijay. All their names have been mentioned, and when we read those names we see that the magnitude of our valor, it cannot be reduced to just to one plate. But when we hear those stories, it's what brings our heart to have that confidence that we are safe as a nation.
Also, viewers, on the 26th of July, the tricolour flew high over Kargil, marking a historic victory. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Army Chief General Dras said, paid tribute to the country's fallen soldiers at the Kargil Memorial as the nation marked the 27th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Diwas. Watch this detailed report for more.
July 26, Kargil Vijay Diwas is not merely a date in Indian history. This is a day to salute our brave Indian soldiers who made sacrifice during Operation Vijay in July 1999. This year marks the 27th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Diwas. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Army Chief General Dras Singh and senior military officers paid tributes to the country's brave hearts at a dedicated war memorial. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh took part in the event and handed a ceremonial kalash to some family members of the personnel who made a sacrifice in the war. He paid tributes to Kargil heroes and addressed army personnel during a Shaurya Bhoj event in Dras.
कारगिल युद्ध केवल भारत की सैन्य और कूटनीतिक विजय नहीं थी मित्रों, वह एक ऐसा क्षण था जब पूरी दुनिया ने भारतीय सैनिकों का अदम्य साहस देखा, उनका शौर्य देखा। कारगिल युद्ध के समय भारतीय जवानों की वीरता का ऐसा इतिहास रचा था जो हर भारतवासी के लिए एक गर्व का विषय है।
During the address, he stated that Kargil is like a jewel to Bharat Mata.
कारगिल भारत माता के मुकुट में जुड़े हुए किसी हीरे के समान है। और आज द्रास में कारगिल की इस वीर भूमि पर आप सभी सैनिकों के बीच उपस्थित होकर मैं जिस गर्व की अनुभूति कर रहा हूं, उसे मैं शब्दों में बयां नहीं कर सकता हूं।
He slammed Pakistan on Kargil Diwas while honoring the courage of Indian soldiers during Operation Vijay.
इस वार मेमोरियल में आपको पूरा भारत देखने को मिलेगा। इन बलिदानियों में आपको हिमाचल, नागालैंड, मेघालय, तमिलनाडु और भारत के हर क्षेत्र का नाम देखने को मिलेगा। इनमें आपको मंदिर जाने वालों का नाम देखने को मिलेगा, यहां मस्जिद जाने वालों का नाम आपको देखने को मिलेगा, वहीं गुरुद्वारे और गिरजाघरों में जाने वालों का नाम भी यहां आपको देखने को मिलेगा। साथियों, इन तमाम विविधताओं के बावजूद इन बलिदानियों का खून एक ही रंग का है और यह खून इसी एक मिट्टी में गिरा है। जो लोग इस देश को तोड़ने के सपने देखते हैं, उन्हें एक बार इस दीवार को देखना चाहिए। यह दीवार अपने आप में उनके दुस्वप्नों का एक जवाब है।
Following that, Defence Minister clearly highlighted India's intentions while saying that India will not hold any talks with Pakistan.
क्या पाकिस्तान से कोई बात नहीं होगी, और अगर बात होगी तो सिर्फ पीओके पर ही बात होगी, जो कि भारत का हिस्सा है, जिस पर पाकिस्तान ने अवैध तरीके से कब्जा किया था।
He also stressed on the fact that India and Pakistan are different and have different interests.
आज भारत इनोवेशन के रास्ते खोज रहा है तो पाकिस्तान इन्फिल्ट्रेशन के नए रास्ते खोज रहा है। भारत शिप डिजाइन कर रहा है तो पाकिस्तान टेरर डिजाइन में लगा हुआ है। भारत स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम खड़ा कर रहा है तो पाकिस्तान टेरर इकोसिस्टम खड़ा कर रहा है। भारत से भी कंडक्टर्स बना रहा है तो पाकिस्तान सुसाइड बॉम्बर्स तैयार कर रहा है। भारत स्पेस मिशंस के लिए जाना जा रहा है तो पाकिस्तान प्रॉक्सी मिशंस चला रहा है। भारत अंतरिक्ष में सैटेलाइट्स भेज रहा है तो पाकिस्तान आज भी आतंकवादियों को सीमाओं के पार भेजने में लगा हुआ है।
He expressed confidence that as long as Indian soldiers continue to uphold the patriotism and inner resolve, no force would dare challenge the country's sovereignty.
राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा सिर्फ सीमाओं पर तैनात जवानों का काम नहीं है, यह हर नागरिक का कर्तव्य है। और कारगिल ने हमें दिखाया है कि जब देश पर संकट आया तो जाति, धर्म, क्षेत्र और भाषा की सारी दीवारें अपने आप ढह गईं। यह भावना, यह एकता हमारी सबसे बड़ी ताकत है।
Rajnath Singh also assured that our army is fully prepared for any such challenges.
भारतीय सैनिक बहुत ही साहसी होते हैं और आपके बीच आकर आप सभी वीर जवानों का जो साहस और जोश मैं महसूस करता हूं, मैं कह सकता हूं वह अनपैरेलल है, वह अतुलनीय है। आप सभी को आश्वस्त करता हूं, जिस तरह से आप राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा के लिए तत्पर हैं, उसी तरह से सरकार भी हमारी सेनाओं के कल्याण के लिए भी सदैव तत्पर है।
Meanwhile, at Lamuchain Viewpoint, Gaurav Mein Sanskriti at Vishwanath Stadium, Vijay Bhoj and Shaurya Sandhya at the Kargil War Memorial.
And now viewers, let us take a look at some of the top headlines doing rounds in the nation in our national wraps. A massive landslide struck the Gangru area in Jammu and Kashmir's Ramsu block, blocking the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway, the National Highway 44, and disrupting traffic. Restoration and debris clearance operations are underway, with authorities working to reopen the crucial highway at the earliest. A 6-year-old boy identified as Avyan Surya died after drowning in a rainwater-filled pit in Greater Noida's Knowledge Park area. The child, identified as Avyan Surya, was rushed to the hospital but was declared dead. According to locals, the nearly 15-foot deep pit had been dug for boring work and was left without barricading or warning signs. Police have registered a case and initiated further legal actions. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inaugurated and laid the foundation stones for multiple development projects in Mainpuri. Addressing a public gathering, he said there was a time when people were afraid of the name Mainpuri and accused previous governments of creating any identity crisis by destroying law and order.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरी राजा,
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
Coming up after a short break, India makes it clear, no dialogue with Pakistan, there will be only talks on POK.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
हमें तो पहले दिन से पता था, कल डील कर रहे थे आप सरकार के साथ।
क्या मुझे किसी से कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट लेनी होगी कि मेरा अनशन कितना पवित्र था? And I don't want to thank you, but express my feelings.
अन्ना पार्ट 2, 12 साल अन्ना खामोश हो गए, अब हम चुपचाप खामोश रहे। ये कुछ नहीं है इसका।
The future of India's defense isn't just being imagined, it is being engineered. A visionary industrialist.
Era of mere buyers, technology is over. We are now entering the age of innovation, indigenous design, developments, manufacturing, co-creation and co-production.
A pioneer of indigenous defense manufacturing. A leader shaping India's journey towards strategic self-reliance. At Republic Forces First Conclave, Baba Kalyani shared his vision for India's next chapter.
I believe as a manufacturer, to people from the services, people from the MOD, to understand the other side, to understand what is happening in the world on the other side, is equally important as the strategic imperatives.
The contribution of Bharat Forge and with Mr. Kalyani's leadership, he himself has publicly pushed for reforms and especially, he said ahead of the budget, flexible export credit for emerging markets, dedicated research and development funding for private defense firms, arguing that R&D support is currently channeled almost entirely through the DRDO. And Defense Ministry has set a formal target of 70% self-reliance in weaponry by 2027. And we're going to have a deep dive now, a deep dive with the conversation on this stage. So I request Mr. Arnab Goswami to please accompany Mr. Baba Kalyani on the stage for this fireside chat on private sector warhorse forging India's defense. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege to be here on this fireside chat with Baba Kalyani, a person I respect tremendously because of his commitment to this area. There are many companies for whom defense is one of the things they do, but for Baba Kalyani, he has done what generations of policymakers had said was impossible, which is build a world-class private defense artillery industry from a auto forging base. This requires commitment. And today, Kalyani Strategic Systems Limited, KSSL, has co-developed the ATACMS howitzer with DRDO, won the largest share of India's first major artillery buy since Bofors in 1987, and is now exporting Indian guns to Europe, exporting Indian guns to the US supply chain and West Asia. And ladies and gentlemen, therefore, Baba Kalyani and Kalyani embodies the private sector's arrival at the heart of Atmanirbhar Bharat. For that, I congratulate you, sir. Let's have a round of applause for that alone, please, because this is truly incredible. Good work you've done, sir. I want to start by asking you to respond a little bit to the first comments we saw from the Secretary Defense, who also wears the DRDO cap, and the Raksha Mantri. I saw in their introductory comments a clear commitment towards Atmanirbharta. It was not an embellishment, it was a strategic goal. Your thoughts on what you heard from them at the start?
You know, first of all, I think we have to recognize the fact and give credit to our government, Prime Minister Modi, for setting up this whole Make in India and Atmanirbhar mission after 2014. The Ministry of Defense and Sri Rajnath Singh ji, who has been spearheading this for many years now, along with the Defense Secretary, the Defense Secretary Production, who is present here. There has been tremendous change, as the Defense Minister himself said in his talk, in terms of the mindset, in terms of how business, industry, both private and public, perceive this whole Atmanirbhar concept. I think it's a journey, as you said, but for people like me, and there are many in this country, who have a feeling for India to become a superpower, the nationalist feeling that we need to be somebody who is recognized, put in efforts in this direction to do things. And what Arnab just talked about in terms of the ATACMS or in terms of whatever other things that we are doing is, I think, a step in that direction.
Now, in 2011, nobody could have ever believed. We must be a little candid about what has changed here, because the big issue is, trust. We have always had this belief that it's easier to buy than to build. And why take the trouble? And then there are all these qualitative dimensions which are brought in. And that's why we've lost a lot of time. Nobody in 2011-10 could believe that a private forging company like yours will be supplying, and you had zero defense pedigree. Sorry to point that out, but it's a reality. You had zero defense pedigree, but he had intention, and I think a spirit of nationalism, that you could build artillery for the Indian Army. Now you are 14, 15, 16 years later, you are exporting guns to Europe and the US supply chain, right? And our own army is about to, I hope, going to place you a firm order. What is the gap? Why is it that you have global validation, right? And what is it about domestic trust that we need to address? You see, do we need global validation before domestic trust? Do we? No, it's an issue we have. It's a thing we have. Do we need global validation before trust in India? And what can we do to bridge the gap? And that's happening at a time when the government has already committed itself to Atmanirbharta. So you have a salubrious environment, right? But is that getting into practice?
I think, Arnab, you're right. When you had the first conclave 3 years ago, I think that probably was pretty much valid. I had spoken about this in many conferences that We need to create a much larger level of trust between industry and defense system. But no, with all the policies that have been put into place, and okay, we still have a process that we have to follow. Some of these processes definitely need to be looked at. And it's not a matter of trust so much today. I think people do realize in the services that industry has come of age, industry can deliver products, industry can make products. Now it's a question of somebody saying that we don't need this process, we need to do it faster, shorter. I mean, there are so many new technologies of computer simulation, AI, digital technologies that we need to start using to cut down the whole process of approvals. I can just tell you one process, which is, I find that is a big bugbear, and that is a process called FOPM. FOPM is first of production manufacturing or whatever. This happens after 7-8 years of your product being tested in the winter, in the summer, all over the place. And then when you start producing, you have to make I have to make one gun and subject it to this FOPM. It has to run around something like 14 laboratories for all kinds of tests. And before this FOPM approval comes, you cannot order a single piece of raw material or input or anything. So your whole process gets delayed to that extent. So I think these are quite antiquated processes. They need to go from the system. I think Army has more of these processes than the Navy or the Air Force. And I would seriously think that a lot of introspection is required for this.
I want to respond to that. Also want to, on behalf of Republic, welcome General Rajiv Ghai, who just come in, and he's just taken charge as the military advisor of the National Security Council. Thank you very much for coming, sir. We are all very fortunate to have illustrious people in the audience, General Bakshi and so many others. I agree with you on that, sir, because the ATAGS program, if you look at it, it went into development in 2013. It took 12 years. Do we have that kind of time? The forces are delighted at the recent push. But for that push to be incessant and intense, we must highlight that it took 12 years from development to a firm domestic order. And it's 38 years since Bofors for India to sign its first major artillery contract. In today's day and age with non-contact warfare and the kind of developments that we have seen, we want to know what is the bottleneck. Is it technology? Is it trust? Is it turf? Or is it DRDO versus DPSU versus private industry? Is there conflict? How do we speed up the process? Because we don't know where the next war is going to come from and how we'll have to respond.
You're right, Arnab. If you look at the West Asia war, I think it is teaching us a lot of lessons. First of all, the biggest lesson is even the biggest countries in the world, like the United States, is running out of ammunition. Whether it's missiles, whether it's rockets, whether it's whatever form of ammunition. They're simply running out of it. And you take this whole story of cruise missile, that famous cruise missile that US uses. Now I'm told that they need to increase production by 100 times compared to what they have been producing. They want to produce 28,000 cruise missiles and keep them in stock. So the solution that they have found, actually they didn't find the solution. The industry found the solution. There was a company in California, called Divergent Technologies. This company was manufacturing 3D printed parts for BMW and for Audi and supplying to these companies, basically components for chassis, etc. So he realized, the entrepreneur, the person who owns Divergent Technologies, that he can easily repurpose his equipment and make the entire cruise missile using an AI-based design that he generated. And he produced a cruise missile, the Tomahawk missile, at 1/10 the cost in less than 6 weeks' time. from scratch. And Pete Hegseth, who is the Secretary of War, went to visit him and saw the facility and on the spot gave him an order for billions of dollars. Now that is trust. And that is what I think we lack.
So do we lack trust?
Well, I don't know whether you call it trust or whatever you call it.
I'll use the word.
Okay. But I think that is where we need to be. Because
the question is like this, that I am amazed that you have, I'm amazed at the order. You are supplying 100 guns, including 18 ATAGs, to European buyers in 2024. That's a full year before the Indian Army signs its own contract. Now, I love the Indian Army. My father was in the Madras Sappers. Please don't take it wrong. I love them. General Bakshi, don't look at me like that. You know, I'm scared of you. Yeah. But the General Guy, you know, I love the Indian Army. But I find it strange. I think that what is the problem with our procurement? I don't want us to operate like America, because there, by the way, you don't even need Pete Hegseth. Donald Trump can order missiles like he orders from McDonald's. But he can put in a Deliveroo app on that. But the question is that, is procurement the single biggest handicap we are facing? And we need to be candid about it. We need to talk about it. Before Indian defense manufacturing. Because what is the problem? Technology, capital, people say no problems. So is the procurement process a problem? It's a serious problem we have, because we have so much catch up to do.
Yeah, procurement process is a problem. There's no doubt about it. I don't think technology is a problem. I think I fully agree with what the Defense Secretary said in his talk about DRDO. We do a lot of work with DRDO. We are DCPP partners with DRDO. ATAX came as a partnership with DRDO. We and the Tatas were two partners who produced this. The small arms that we are making, we got the largest order for carbines that Indian Army has ever placed on anybody, 250,000 carbines. This will go into production in the next few weeks. Is again a DRDO design. So I think, you know, there is a lot of technology capability in this country. The problem...
How do you view DRDO? You co-developed ATAGs with DRDO. You've seen the organization from the inside as a partner, not a critic. How is DRDO doing well enough? And, you know, has it made the shift from a developer of everything to an enabler of development?
I think DRDO has made the shift very well. DRDO has now become an organization that develops technology, that develops products in partnership with industry, sometimes private industry, sometimes public industry, and they do it very fast. I mean, I'll give you two more examples. We have just developed the two FICVs, the wheeled and tracked version. Yeah. Probably the most modern FICVs that you can find on this planet today. You know, America was trying to sell us some junk which is like 30 years old, a couple of months ago, last year or something. I think you would know this very well. But we have developed these FICVs. Again, we and Tatas were the two partners, the DCPP partners. So we developed a tracked version, we developed a wheeled version, and it is 100% indigenous. Everything on that, from the engine, transmission, everything is made in India.
Can I push the envelope on that? You know, because the problem is that if you are going to plan your manufacturing, suddenly you become very popular in West Asia. Suddenly, I'm just talking about you and other defense companies. You become popular in the US. I mean, you know, AM General has just signed to offer your Mark 52 for the US Army's Mobile Tactical Cannon program. So you're manufacturing for Americans, right? And you unveil the world's first 4x4 mounted 155mm gun at Eurosatory this June. Now, these are NATO adjacent countries, and they're hungry for infrastructure. They are hungry. We know what's happening in Ukraine. They are hungry for equipment. They're hungry for it. When NATO adjacent militaries start signing Indian artillery ahead of India's own forces completing traction, right? I don't want to ask you what does it say. I want to ask you that what will happen to the supply chain. Your manufacturing units, your finite capacity at the end of the day, your manufacturing units will all be clogged, and you'll be manufacturing for the world. Will it be too late? Will then the production order take time? When You can't, you'll have to take time to develop and manufacture for India. Will we waste time there?
Let me respond to this, Arnab. I think what is not
not just you, sir.
I'm responding this as a country and as industry. What is not being understood right now is the way wars are being fought is completely changed. Okay? You look at the West Asia war, you look at the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I mean, it's completely changed. In Ukraine, they are producing something like 500,000 drones per year. Housewives are making drones in their kitchen. Okay? I mean, that is the way they are going and doing it. So they are simplifying technology. They are making it easy to produce. I mean, they're making drones out of cardboard. Japan has just unveiled a drone that's made from cardboard. So it can be, you can make it in millions in any cardboard factory. So, you know, the way wars are being fought is completely changed. Now, God forbid we have a conflict and, you know, we get into some problems like this. We don't have the capacity to support our armed forces either with ammunition, either with missiles, or with anything else you need. You may have the guns, you may have arms, but you don't have something that comes out of it. And that is where the supply chain becomes important. Because the current thinking is that, yeah, we have everything, you give an order for 100 pieces and the supply chain will happen by itself. But if you tomorrow need 1,000 pieces, forget it, it's not going to happen. And that is what Europe is finding out, that is what the US is finding out, that is the learnings that are coming out of the Ukraine war and especially the West Asian war. How is Iran able to fight the United States? Yep. Because it created in 20-25 years some thousands and thousands of missiles as inventory.
Yeah. So we're going to have to then do some forecasting, right?
Yes.
And therefore this conversation today, this event cannot be done in a silo. We can't talk about what's happening in India alone because we are subject to different kind of tremors on the global stage, right? I therefore want a comment from you, and this will be interesting to take our conversation forward. Secretary of Defense Production is here, everybody's here. See, how do you view the global factors? You know, first of all, the global scenario of conflict, unpredictable. We've never imagined that 4 years down, Ukraine, Russia would still be happening, right? The war in West Asia is far from over, right? More and more countries are getting involved. Many countries with weak economies are punching above their weight, example being Turkey, because of their defense manufacturing capability. They're 1/3 or less than 1/3 of India's economy. But look at the way they're punching over their weight. Diplomacy is changing. Political leaders are becoming more immediate. They're all trying to be mini Trumps. They want to decide on the spot, right? The bureaucratic processes have opened up. Diplomacy is being done differently. It's being done by the leaders themselves rather than by the diplomats who merely become the executors. In this situation today, I want to know how you are seeing the global defense industry environment, right? We can't, if we have a low base, that can't be the only reason we applaud ourselves. We started small, we're growing. We need to do something to quadruple. You run plants in various continents, right? And you're one of the original high-tech manufacturing plants. In a SWOT analysis, tell me just about the weaknesses and the threats that we face, the spots that the enemy can exploit.
The biggest weakness that I see that we face is more in terms of supply chain. Okay. And the reason why supply chain is going to become weakness is because Europe is rearming itself. It wants to, get up to 5% of GDP. And they are struggling. They're currently at some 1.82%.
And they're spending.
They're spending. And so therefore, a lot of supply chain around the world is going to get focused into Europe.
Okay.
So we are going to find that some critical products that we still, we can't make everything, 100% of everything ourselves. So some critical products will be a problem in the supply chain.
Now, Indian companies will also be part of that supply chain to Europe?
The second thing is, the biggest opportunity that will come to Indian companies who are prepared is they will have a big part to play in that supply chain. Europe's defense budget in 3 years' time will go to $1 trillion.
Yes.
Compared to some 200 billion right now. It'll increase some 4 or 5 times.
They've woken up after.
Yeah. And they don't have the supply chain for that quantity. They don't have skills. I mean, it's impossible to find a skilled worker who's willing to work in a German plant today.
So they'll be coming more to Indian defense companies?
Yes. So
they are already coming
the opportunity is going to be large for India. Depends on how we position ourselves politically. And that's one of the reasons why you see our exports increasing so dramatically, going from few hundred crores to now 40,000.
What about our own defense requirements? My question was about our own defense requirements. If our effort goes into supplying for the supply chain, you know, you have on top of that, you have tariffs, you have wars, you have supply chain fractures from inside 3 continents at once. Europe is rearming itself after being pushed back by the Americans. And they pretty much think that this is the way things are going to be. Nobody in Europe is complacent anymore. It's good that Indian companies are contributing to exports. My question is about our defense requirements.
So our defense requirements, we have a couple of weak spots which we need to address. The biggest weak spot is connected with aircrafts. We need to learn how to make many more aircrafts per year than what we are making. So that's a weak spot. And what is the weak spot in aircrafts? It's the engine and the engine technology. I think everybody knows about it. You know, Sri Kota is here. He was the designer of the LCA. You know, he never seems to get old, by the way.
Round of applause for you, sir. You're the original. Thank you, sir.
But that's a weak spot. The Navy has a weak spot in terms of the guns that it has on most of its ships, whether it's a 30-millimeter gun, 76-millimeter gun, although it comes through BHEL, but basically it comes from Italy through Leonardo. So it needs to be made in India. Now, you have a completely new requirement of anti-drone technologies. You know, whether it's burst ammunition, whether it's the 30-millimeter, 20-millimeter, you have to develop this, and you have to develop this fast. If you take 5 years to develop this, the technology is gone already, and something else would have come by then. So I think it's very clear, everybody knows Mr. Guy is here. He is now, you know, military advisor to the NSA, and before him, General Raja was there. So everybody knows what is required. In some areas, action is happening fast. I think Navy is taking action very fast in many of the areas. Army, something is happening, but I think in Army the procedures need to be out. But let me add also one more thing here, and what Honorable Rajnath Singh ji said, and also what our Defense Secretary said. You know, we have now a completely new force in our supply system as far as defense supplies are concerned, and that's the startups. And we have some amazing startups who have created some great products and great value, and all that is all thanks to the programs like IDEX and all the other programs that MOD and the services follow. So we have a drone startup that is now going global. We have, I don't know what has happened to our friends from Hyderabad in terms of their space. We were supposed to...
it was just pushed back by a little bit. It should be happening now. I'll get
supposed to happen. But, you know, these are things that never happened in India till the last 2-3 years. So, and you have something like 2,000 startups. That's what the Honorable RM said. So I think that is a power that is going to come on the table. And that is going to create a huge amount of capability in the system. Now, big industries cannot do everything. Even we cannot do everything. We also have to now recognize and work with a dozen or two startups. Or help a dozen or two startups. So I think we have to recognize that the world is changing, the way wars are fought, it is changing, and what is required is also changing. So we need to change along with that.
My last question is on talent, sir. We worry as this grows, private sector grows, foreign companies come in. You know, we had 100 ISRO scientists who left ISRO and took up maybe more lucrative assignments of late. Now you have a doctrinal shift from made in India to owned in India. Made in India to owned in India, right? This is apparent in the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2026 draft. But draft is one thing, sir. Now we need to look at like the next entrepreneur, the next startup, the next person who can build a big space company, a big defense company in India. So suppose there's an Indian engineer. What would your message be to an Indian engineer or an Indian researcher or young talent, right, who wants to work in this area between choosing a IT job abroad or a defense job abroad to working or creating a defense manufacturing career at home? Because if the country grows, we grow. But youngsters don't always look at it in those terms alone. They look at the individual careers as well. So what's your pitch to the young Indian? And I hope many of these companies become really big and scale up. What's your message to them? Because talent is at the core. Indian industry may not be able to pay them what Silicon Valley or the Gulf will, right? But we need many more such companies, many more startups. We need talent. We need risk takers. That's the gap. That's the need gap.
I have three messages for this. First is, I think for us to grow our talent, we must work in a collaborative environment. A collaborative environment between the private sector and the public sector. And without this, you're not going to grow talent and you're not going to grow capability. And I think the AMCA program is a very good example where something like this is at least happening. This is number one. Number two, the young entrepreneurs who are coming into this field in terms of startups, IDEX programs, all that, you got to keep some role models in front of you. It doesn't have to be Elon Musk, okay? But you can have companies like Palantir, companies like that who started from nothing and have grown with technology and created products. So at the end of the day, you have to think of creating products. India needs to become a products nation. India cannot be a service nation. You can't go and work for some IT company or some consulting company somewhere. You got to work for India. You got to make products for India, in India. So I think you got to think in that direction. There is tremendous amount of talent available, capability available, and now a lot of government support. A lot of funding is available for design, engineering. The RDI fund is available. The IDEX funds are available. All kinds of things are available. Risk capital is available. So this is the opportunity for young people. And with a lot of technical universities now changing their programs to bringing defense-oriented programs into their universities. I know IIT Bombay, Powai has done this. IIT Madras is doing this. Many other institutions are doing this. So the opportunity is great. And defense industry, I mean, if Europe is going to go to $1 trillion from where it is, if we are going to go to 3 lakh crores, what the Honorable Defense Minister said, in a few years' time, I mean, by 2047, our defense industry should be close to $1 trillion. So the opportunity is very big, and I think the requirements also are going to be big, but indifferent.
Thank you for leading the way and for sharp and very candid conversations today, which, despite the informality of what we shared on stage, I think the comments are very deep and set the stage for a wonderful day ahead. Thank you very much, Mr. Baba Kalyani, for doing what you're doing. Thank you,
Arnav. Thank you for it.
What a meaningful chat. Thank you so much, sir. रक्षा के क्षेत्र में किए गए आपके काम को लगातार हम सराहते हैं और ये मोमेंटो आपको बार बार याद दिलाएगा कि रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क किस तरह से रक्षा के क्षेत्र में ही एक कदम आगे बढ़ा रहा है और बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा ले रहा है।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट, स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा, आर प्योर मसाला। चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Viewers, a big breaking news coming in at the moment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has released once again another video message regarding the paper leaks. He has given once again stern warnings against those who play with the students and the future of the students. And in fact, he has announced a special high-powered task force for educational reforms. In fact, in the video, he also mentions that the government has decided to form a high-powered task force for the educational reforms under the leadership of Sri Nandan Nilekani. And the Prime Minister continues to speak on about the future of the students and that the government is taking a major step towards making sure that such paper leaks do not happen again, and saying that the fast-track courts on the NEET paper leak have also been constituted. And in fact, the government has decided to form this task force for major educational reforms. And even the Prime Minister says in the video message that whoever have played with the future of the students are now rotting in jail. Let's take a listen into the full video message from the Prime Minister.
फ्रेंड्स, विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के लिए भारत सरकार लगातार अनेकविध कदम उठा रही है। जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट बना चुके हैं। हम कल पार्लियामेंट के अंदर भी कठोर कानूनों के प्रावधान के साथ नया कानून बनाने की दिशा में भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें भविष्य के लिए सोचना है। हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति विश्वस्त हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति ट्रांसपेरेंट हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति में सबसे ज्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हो। इन सारी बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए विश्व प्रसिद्ध टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट श्रीमान नंदन नीलेकनी जी के नेतृत्व में एक हाई पावर टास्क फोर्स बनाने का निर्णय किया है, जो एग्जामिनेशन रिफॉर्म की तरफ फोकस करेगा और जल्द से जल्द आने वाली परीक्षाओं की विश्वसनीयता को सुनिश्चित करने का काम इसके रिपोर्ट के आधार पर कर दिया जाएगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
On the broadcast by Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor to give us more information in this. Abhishek, thank you so much for joining. And can you give us more details into what this would mean? Because earlier there was another video message on this related topic. Once again, he said that there will be a high-level parliament will be introduced. A law will also be introduced on this on Monday, which is tomorrow. So tell us more. What can be expected after this message?
Well, you see, this is a big announcement coming in from the Prime Minister himself, and this is the third video in the reel format, one would say Gen Z compatible format that the Prime Minister has released, in which he has announced that a task force, a technology task force has been set up, which would be headed by Nandan Nilekani. He's the former chief of Infosys. He's someone who spearheaded the rollout of Aadhaar as head of the UIDAI, and He is a technocrat, and for him to be heading the committee that would look into, or a task force that would look into overhauling the entire examination system, a competitive examination system, in a manner that it's technology compliant and it's cheating proof, it's leak proof, and that's the announcement made by the Prime Minister. Remember, as I said, the third video coming in from the Prime Minister. In the first one, he announced setting up of the special fast-track courts. In the second, he thanked the Gen Z for the kind of response his first video elicited. The fact that overnight, just one video, over 1 million followers, Prime Minister added on his Instagram page. And now with this, he's taking it to the next level. So essentially what we are seeing is, be it the setting up of the fast-track courts, be it the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, be it the bringing in of the new law about which the Prime Minister mentioned, Amrita, in this video also, which is coming tomorrow, or the new task force set up under the headship of Nandan Nilekani, the government is not going to leave any stone unturned and is going to plug all the gaps so that no future paper leaks happen in the country, not just insofar as the NEET is concerned, but any other exams, and possibly the states would be involved. We will get those details in a bit, but this is a high-powered task force announcement of which was made by Prime Minister. In the video, let's listen once again to the video of Prime Minister where he has made this announcement, again in a Gen Z compatible format, addressing those who were out there protesting.
Right, let's play that video once again and listen to the video message of the Prime Minister again. But before we play that again, Abhishek, would you expect of this task force? Because earlier, as you mentioned, and this particular fast-track courts had been set up, and also the nation is also expecting on this law, because he has promised that there would be a law that would prevent such future leaks do not happen. So what can we expect of the high-powered task force that he mentioned in this video?
Well, so far as the terms of reference are concerned, the Prime Minister himself has elucidated a bit on that, that this task force would be looking into how to plug the gaps, Amrita, in the examination system. Remember, there are exams like the JEE where the paper leaks do not happen. So whether there is something which can be learned from those examination systems, there is CAT that happens of the IIMs where no paper leaks are reported. So can those systems be replicated? Because remember, the difference between CAT and JEE and NEET is the scale of operations. So whether a scale can be given to exams like CAT and JEE, and then the NEET can be implemented with those systems so that no leaks happen. But obviously Nandan Nilekani is a technocrat, he's an expert, and he knows what can be done. He's as former chief of Infosys, and of course as the first head of the UIDAI who spearheaded the rollout of Aadhaar system in the country, and essentially the UPI rollout, which is premised on Aadhaar card and the JAM Trinity, everything Nandan Nilekani sort of spearheaded or supervised. So I think he's someone who comes with a lot of expertise under his wings to be heading this task force. And Prime Minister essentially sending across a message to the Gen Z that they are not going to be left at this. The government is going to handhold, the government is going to make sure that the kind of angst and anxieties that they expressed in these protests are not wasted, and that the government acts and is seen to be acting, and is making sure that this time it's taken to its logical conclusion. So on the one hand, all the accused of the NEET paper UG exam of a couple of months back are under arrest, and the Education Minister has resigned. Today, the Prime Minister has announced this task force, and tomorrow, of course, the special amendments in the existing anti-cheating law are going to come in, and the Parliament would be taking it up. In fact, that would be the real test of opposition, whether they had approached these protests with any integrity, or they were doing this just to embarrass the government or just to make things difficult for the government. Because if they really mean that students' angst should be addressed, then they should be supporting the government in the amendments that are going to be brought in tomorrow by way of a new legislation. And so the Parliament sitting tomorrow as part of the monsoon session becomes very interesting and important. But Prime Minister, in fact, preempting any further move by the opposition to try to corner the government on the finer details of whether a repeat of paper leaks can happen, by setting up this task force under Nilekani. If the soundbite is ready, can we go back to it again and listen to what the Prime Minister has said?
फ्रेंड्स, विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के लिए भारत सरकार लगातार अनेकविध कदम उठा रही है। जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट बना चुके हैं। हम कल पार्लियामेंट के अंदर भी कठोर कानूनों के प्रावधान के साथ नया कानून बनाने की दिशा में भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें भविष्य के लिए सोचना है। हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति विश्वस्त हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति ट्रांसपेरेंट हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति में सबसे ज्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हो। इन सारी बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए विश्व प्रसिद्ध टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट श्रीमान नंदन नीलेकनी जी के नेतृत्व में एक हाई पावर टास्क फोर्स बनाने का निर्णय किया है, जो एग्जामिनेशन रिफॉर्म की तरफ फोकस करेगा और जल्द से जल्द आने वाली परीक्षाओं की विश्वसनीयता को सुनिश्चित करने का काम इसके रिपोर्ट के आधार पर कर दिया जाएगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। फ्रेंड्स, विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के लिए भारत सरकार लगातार अनेकविध कदम उठा रही है। जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट बना चुके हैं। हम कल पार्लियामेंट के अंदर भी कठोर कानूनों के प्रावधान के साथ नया कानून बनाने की दिशा में भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें भविष्य के लिए सोचना है। हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति विश्वस्त हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति ट्रांसपेरेंट हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति में सबसे ज्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हो। इन सारी बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए विश्व प्रसिद्ध टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट श्रीमान नंदन नीलेकनी जी के नेतृत्व में एक हाई पावर टास्क फोर्स बनाने का निर्णय किया है, जो एग्जामिनेशन रिफॉर्म की तरफ फोकस करेगा और जल्द से जल्द आने वाली परीक्षाओं की विश्वसनीयता को सुनिश्चित करने का काम इसके रिपोर्ट के आधार पर कर दिया जाएगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Well, that was the video message from the Prime Minister, and this is the third video message once again where the Prime Minister has shown the resolve of the central government towards their commitment to ensure for the success of future examinations and also showing their stand for the students as well. Once again, a big outreach to the Gen Z and also of the students. And once again, the Prime Minister once again affirms that the government is taking major steps by including the setting up of the fast-track court in order to investigate on the NEET paper leak case. And he also says that those who have played with the future of the students are now rotting in jail, showing the Prime Minister's commitment once again into ensuring that the students do not suffer by such circumstances in the future. And in this video message, once again, that he says that a high-powered task force will also be set up. And he also continues to say that a new legislation, a law, will also be brought in, saying that tomorrow, as the Parliament convenes once again after it was disrupted for many days last week when it started, he says that all eyes will be on the new, on the reconvening of the Parliament session where this legislation might be introduced. Let us take a listen to the video message once again and listen to what he had to say.
फ्रेंड्स, विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के लिए भारत सरकार लगातार अनेकविध कदम उठा रही है। जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट बना चुके हैं। हम कल पार्लियामेंट के अंदर भी कठोर कानूनों के प्रावधान के साथ नया कानून बनाने की दिशा में भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें भविष्य के लिए सोचना है। हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति विश्वस्त हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति ट्रांसपेरेंट हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति में सबसे ज्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हो। इन सारी बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए विश्व प्रसिद्ध टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट श्रीमान नंदन नीलेकनी जी के नेतृत्व में एक हाई पावर टास्क फोर्स बनाने का निर्णय किया है, जो एग्जामिनेशन रिफॉर्म की तरफ फोकस करेगा और जल्द से जल्द आने वाली परीक्षाओं की विश्वसनीयता को सुनिश्चित करने का काम इसके रिपोर्ट के आधार पर कर दिया जाएगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
And now, viewers, we are joined on the phone line by Tuhin Sinha, who is a BJP spokesperson, to give us more details in this. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And again, this is another big message from the Prime Minister, where he also once again ensures that the students, the Prime Minister, in fact, has the interests of all of the students, and that he also mentions a high-powered task force, which will be led by Nandan Nilekani, one of our educationist stalwart, and also promises of education reforms in the future. Tell us more on that.
Absolutely, the Prime Minister Modi walks the talk. So this is the third important decision after the complete up in NPA, after the decision to bring in a fresh legislation on Tuesday, and after the decision to fast-track all the cases of exams across the country. This is, in fact, the fourth major decision. So systemic changes are being put in place to ensure that the scourge of exam paper leak is completely eradicated from the country. It's a huge thing.
That's right. Mr. Sinha, do stay with us. We are also joined on the phone line by Shehzad Poonawalla to give us more in this. Mr. Poonawalla, thank you so much for joining. What are your initial reactions on this? The Prime Minister has once again reaffirmed the mind and the stance of the government to ensure that the students do not suffer in the future. And also, he mentions of a legislation that would be brought back in the Parliament that will be reconvening tomorrow. Give us more details. Are we expecting a stricter law or legislation against future leaks?
Look, the Prime Minister is receptive, responsive, sensitive, sensible, pragmatic, accountable and democratic. And that's what he's demonstrated over the last few weeks. Whether it's the anti-copying law, whether it's re-NEET exam, putting the guilty in jail, ensuring that there'll be a stricter law, high-powered committee now has been formed after a fast-track court. Now this high-powered committee, you have a legislative framework, you have a judicial framework, and you need a technological framework to make zero error-free papers so that there are no paper leaks at all. But on the one hand, look one thing, Prime Minister has gone the whole hog. Even Dharmendra Pradhan resigned. But now will Rahul Gandhi make Karnataka Education Minister resign for the paper leak? Will Bhavan make the Punjab Education Minister resign? Will Kejriwal walk the talk? Will Jharkhand Mukti Morcha walk the talk? There have been paper leaks in all the states, but they neither want to come to Parliament. They neither want to give the resignation of the registers. They are hypocrites. They are only fighting for credit. Modi is fighting for students. They want credit and they want to see that, oh, we are the leaders. Modi is saying that, look, I am going to build a future for you that is errors, that has no examination leak. And that is why the youth trust Modi. His last release has got 500 million views. And now this once again is going to be a direct communication to the Gen Z, to the youth of this country. So the Gen Z are now asked, when will Punjab Education Minister resign? When will Karnataka Education Minister resign? And I would request the public, please go ask Rahul Gandhi, go ask Congress, ask Aam Aadmi Party. Their representatives should now walk the talk.
Yes, in fact, that's a major question that can, in fact, be asked on this as well, Mr. Poonawalla. And in fact, we are seeing this big strike by the central ministry, by the central government on that, and how in just one day, the whole protest that was led by the CJP protesters against this exam was completely decimated, and also by introducing countermeasures and a big solution to how this can be taken forward. A big educational reforms has been promised by the Prime Minister once again, and that will be seen how it unfolds. But we are seeing with these video messages and the actions that have been taken, including the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan, very swiftly the government has taken all of these steps. Now I'm also joined from the newsroom by my senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor with all of this. Now Abhishek, I would pose this question to you. Again, we are seeing that in just one swift strike, we're seeing the central government taking up steps that are giving impact in major areas, including the protest has now been completely decimated. And on the one hand, the government is also giving actionable points, actionable task force to ensure that such protests, such leaks do not happen. So we are seeing that the government is showing a big commitment towards ensuring there is education reform and also for the interests of the students.
Well, the fact is that the protests happened. The fact is that there was a political leaning of those who were leading these protests connected with the Aam Aadmi Party. We know it's a fact that the political opposition failing to put the government on the mat in the House in Parliament, or trying to or succeeding in projecting or owning up to this this angst of the youngsters, outsourced their political backing and supported these protests, tried to fan them. The government, if you look at it from the word go, the NTA was the agency which busted the paper leak, not any other person or agency outside. So within the government, the gap was found and plugged. Accused were immediately nabbed and arrested from multiple states, and they are behind bars. The government subsequently was working on it, and even as that was happening, this protest came in, not exactly connected with NEET. In fact, the cockroach movement or the Janata Party came out of a proceeding in the Supreme Court. I believe we have Mr. C.R. Keswan joining us on the phone line, and I go to him first. Mr. Keswan, we have the Prime Minister making another announcement of setting up of a technology task force headed by Nandan Nilekani that would look into how to plug the gaps in the competitive examination system in the country, not just NEET, but perhaps all of them, and to make sure that they are top-notch in terms of technology used and that no future leaks happen. All right, I think we lost the line there, Amrita, with C.R. Keswan. But the point I was making was that the government not only plugged the gap from the word go by first finding out that some paper leak has happened, then going after the accused, busting the syndicate, arresting all of them, 13 at last count, all of them behind bars. But even as it was working on other systems, this movement which took shape outside of the NEET protest or NEET angst, the Supreme Court, in fact, made a comment, and that led to this crystallization of the cockroach movement. And so they picked up NEET issue, and then whatever happened in Delhi over the last month and a half, culminating with the march and the protests turning violent that happened on July 20. Subsequently, we have seen the government acting, reforming, overhauling the NTA. The education minister resigned. Then the government brought in the fast-track courts. The Prime Minister himself announced in a midnight move, following which Sonam Wangchuk ended his fast. And then we have the government bringing in a special law, an amendment to the existing law to make it stringent and even tougher for paper leaks to happen. And now this decision. C.R. Keswan is back with us, so on the phone line. Mr. Keswan, now with this move, you think that opposition perhaps stands checkmated a day before the special law is brought in the parliament, or the second week of monsoon session beginning tomorrow? Or you think the opposition, irrespective, would continue to create pandemonium that they have in the House in the first week?
Good evening, Abhishek, to you and your viewers. I think first we thank Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji for this very commendable initiative, because we have seen how sensitive and responsive our Prime Minister has been to the genuine grievances of the students. And we have seen how, like you had rightly mentioned, right after the NEET paper leak, the culprits, 13 of them were nabbed, they're in jail. And then CBI investigation was on. More importantly, Prime Minister ensured that the NEET re-examination was conducted, and 11 lakh students came out in flying colors, qualifying in this. And now this is a very crucial step in a series of steps the Prime Minister has done. First thing is, we saw how, he announced the fast-track special courts, and the bill, like he has said in his post, the bill is going to come out tomorrow, and this is unprecedented. The amendment is going to ensure it's going to have a mandatory 3-month timeline for investigation and trial. That is very, very important, and it will ensure speedy justice, and the stringent measures and the fines have been increased, and the minimum maximum imprisonment for the culprits and criminals have been increased. But this reform today, which is announced, is, I think, indeed path-breaking, because I think one is to ensure, which the Prime Minister is doing, is the culprits and the criminals are, there is a deterrent for them and they are given the strictest punishment. Second is to how to preempt and prevent this is precisely what this task force is going to do. Prime Minister has said that Mr. Nandan Nilekani is going to head it, and he is a very renowned technological expert. And with the Prime Minister, Modi